Conservation Inland Wetlands Agency meeting to order at May 9th at 6:32.
Recording in progress.
Roll call, please.
Greg Palmer.
Here.
Tom Murphy.
Here.
Ned Dalton here. Joe Paletta.
Here.
Luigi Cavallo. Ed Norton.
Here.
Mike Jedd.
Here.
Charles Bellevaux.
Thank you. 3, public hearing. Could you read the ground rules, Ned?
Ground Rules Conservation Commission Inland Wetland Agency. 1, the applicant or his or her representative will make his or her formal presentation to the commission stating the proposed regulated activities and wetland impacts and the alternatives which were considered by the applicant. 2, all comments, discussion, and observations shall be made through the chairperson after proper recognition by the chairperson. This is necessary to ensure that only one person at a time speaks on any issue, thus making it easier for everyone to understand and for clearer legal transcription. 3, all persons addressing the commission shall begin by first clearly stating their name and address for the record. If necessary, the person may be asked to spell his or her name for the record. 4, following the presentation of the application, the Conservation Commission Inland Wetland Agency will ask specific questions of the applicant. 5, after the commission has asked its questions of the applicant, the chairperson shall then allow any members of the public who wish to speak either in favor of this application or against it to address the commission. 6, the chairperson shall then allow the applicant to respond to the comments of the members of the general public. 7, the chairman shall then allow any members of the general public who wish to present any additional information or clarifying discussion to do so. 8, the chairman shall then provide an opportunity for the applicant to respond to those additional remarks if he or she or his or her representative so wishes. 9, the Conservation Commission Inland Wetland Agency has 35 days from the date the public hearing commences to complete that public hearing. The commission may ask the applicant for a 35-day extension of the public hearing period if the commission requires any additional information or wishes to schedule a site walk to observe the situation for themselves. 10, the Conservation Commission Inland Wetland Agency has 35 days from the date when the public hearing is closed to render its decision.
Thank you. A, continuation of the public hearing from April 11th, 2024 for the application 2024-7 of Newport Realty Group, LLC, for construction of Turnberry Estates, a 34-unit active adult community on 24.6-acre parcel to be located off Pondview Drive, Watertown.
Good evening, Chair, Commission members. My name is Andrew Quirk, professional engineer and principal with Kratzer Jones and Associates, here to continue the public hearing along with the soil scientist Matt Sanford and of Newport Realty, Mark Lovely, and Councilor Franklin Pillacy. If I can, I have copies of what's in the presentation material. Just thought it might be easier to follow along with the paper as well. There should be 12 copies of that, and that's the same information that'll be on the screen, but just in case it's easier to follow along
Thank you.
with the paper as well. So just to recap, at the last public hearing, I went through as much as I could in detail with the existing drainage patterns, the proposed drainage patterns, and the proposed development. And from that public hearing, it was made pretty clear from comments as well as from the site walk and from staff that drainage is the predominant concern for this project and making sure that there are no negative downstream impacts. So with that in mind, we completed the plans in terms of trying to reduce the grading and then going through with staff to complete the drainage design to ensure that there are no negative downstream impacts. And that's the plan set that you have before you. So there's two PDFs for presentation. One of them is the full plan set that you have, but I'm just going to focus on the overview, which has two sheets that detail those changes.
See that one? At least that way. So you may want to point to that one.
Okay, I'll pass this way. Okay. And of course, I've got a green pointer on a lot of green background, but so before you hear, as far as the completion of the design, there's really nothing too new here from the last presentation, but again, that completion. So we completed the design of that phase 2, which is to come to a turnaround and the grading associated with that. This whole section here is the same as the plans that you had before. I think we had shown this loop and just the completion of the grading for this loop that ties better into the grades. The key here on this design is that in response to the town engineer's comments, both for slope stability and for drainage, we have swales at the top of slope on both ends. So any of the water coming downhill, as we observed on the site walk, will first be caught at the top of the slope to avoid erosion by these swales that connect it into the drainage system. And then at the bottom of the slope near the units, we have our typical yard drains that we would have that collect from the roof water, from any drainage at the toe of slope. So we have two sets of drainage systems to ensure that any of the water protects both the units and is brought through the storm drainage system. And then this storm drainage system then connects so that we have detention in both areas of the project to ensure there's no downstream negative impacts. So with that, on the second sheet in the PDF, should the page, oh, there we go. I don't know if we can zoom in. Yeah. Okay, so on this sheet, which is part of the stormwater management report computations that were submitted, what I wanted to demonstrate here is how we've taken every effort to ensure no negative downstream impacts from the development and a lot of the water that comes off-site that passes through the site. So we have 3 delineated watersheds proposed. Area 1, this is the area, again, you can see a lot of off-site area that is collected through that system I just described, brought through the storm drainage system. And then in each area, we have 2 sets of detention. So we really wanted to make sure we can detain as much water on site and release it slowly. So first it passes through a rain garden in this area here. This was greatly enlarged from the previous plan, so it has detention and water quality properties. And then it comes down to a stormwater basin here that we had shown and we walked on the site walk. And then that's further detained there, and then it's released into the storm drainage system. The previous subdivision plans did not have detention for this area, and we do, so we're really reducing that runoff. In the bottom right corner of the sheet, which might be easier to see on the printouts, we have reductions from 27% in the 2-year storm through 20% in the 50-year storm and 12% in the 100-year storm. So significant reductions in the peak discharge for this just from this watershed. And again, that connects through Pondview and then is detained again before it goes out to Straits Turnpike. So there's several areas that it's caught and detained through this process. For the northern portion of the site, we expanded. We're now picking up an additional 7 acres of off-site water and detaining that as well, so that not only are we getting a good detention rate for our development, but we're catching all of this runoff from Highgate and directing it through the stormwater basin. This also has a rain garden, so again, it has that double protection system. And those have very significant reductions as well. Those are in the top left of the printout sheet, with a 47% decrease in the 2-year storm, through a 19% decrease in the 50-year storm and a 10% decrease in the 100-year storm. So again, all decreases. Then that just leaves the center channel area, that water course. That has a straight 2% reduction, also just a slight reduction. And that's just from ensuring that we collect any of the adjacent water and pass it through the detention. In particular, that rill that we observed on the site walk, that's going to be collected and brought through this detention system. So again, every effort made to address both our site and upstream runoff for significant reductions in peak discharge from the site and downstream. With that, we received this afternoon, and I'm sure it's part of your packages, we met with town staff earlier in the week, and then we received a memo from the town engineer this afternoon. And I don't want to speak for him, but I'll just highlight a couple things from his memo that hopefully you have in your package. But I would consider it a positive review from town staff in recognition of the changes that we made and meeting with town staff earlier in the week to ensure that everything was addressed. Comment number 1 is just indicating that per the previous comments, we did change the drainage model to reflect both the coverage and the soil type. That was something that was mentioned at the last meeting, that we make sure we have a model that not only is looking at changing from grass and woods to impervious area and lawn areas, but also looking at the soil types. As we know, the soils there are in some areas marginal soils. So we have a model that reflects that. So that's comment 1 that we've addressed. Comment 2 is describing the revisions that I just went through, and I would just highlight that it says that controlling this water course in the basin should help alleviate the flooding issues on Main Street, and that the revised drainage system is preferable to the original submission. Item 3 relates to water quality calculations. And the town engineer notes that there's enough capacity in the drainage system. I've included with your package there the water quality computations that verify that. That's in the package, the last sheet that demonstrates that as well. And then comment 4 relates to the road layout having 3 turnarounds. And just as part of the planning and zoning process that the fire marshal would review for sufficient access through the site. We've used the same standard in several other towns, and it's a very large turnaround. It's a 30-foot inside diameter, 48, or radius, 48-foot outside radius, so it's 96 feet across, and that accommodates a ladder truck. So it's, for other towns, has been more than sufficient, but we would continue, of course, to work through with the planning and zoning process with the fire marshal to ensure that those turnarounds are adequate. So we feel that we've addressed all the comments by staff and commission that were mentioned before, but we're here to respond to any other comments and concerns or answer any other questions that you may have.
Just a question about water runoff. Are you saying that with these changes you made will reduce the problem with the water that we have by Burger King? And so can you explain that you made the other detention pond bigger to hold the water in?
That's correct. Yeah, the numbers are on that sheet WS2, but yes, we've made Stormwater Basin 2, which is the one to the north, is significantly larger, about 60% larger, and we're picking up an additional 7 acres of off-site runoff and detaining it. And so we're reducing the runoff rates from this site downstream, so we will be working to alleviate any downstream impacts from the site. And again, different than the subdivision, this is a private development. So these detention basins, the roadways, the drainage system, all of that are to be held by the homeowners association. That'll be part of the homeowners association documents. We have the schedule of the maintenance that's required, removal of sediment, checking the basins. That's all in the plans, and it would be part of the homeowners association documentation, and it's the responsibility
So
of
the
the
town
home.
has no responsibility whatsoever? on
That's
this?
correct. It's
The
the responsibility.
association will maintain that?
Excuse me?
The association will maintain?
Yes. Yes, the association will be maintaining the roads and the storm drainage system, and as detailed on the plans.
Are we directing, how much water are we still letting back into the wetland areas? We seem to be directing a lot into the drainage and away from the wetland. Are we keeping enough for the wetland?
Excellent point. That's the primary reason, if we can go to the first sheet of the presentation. Or you have in front of you sheet, that watershed PR3, that's that wetland that runs through the center. That's why we only have.
You have it.
Sheet 2. The second sheet. Okay, so that's the reason here, we only have a 2% reduction, because again, we wanted to maintain that water course. These other areas, we're talking about the detention rates, so that's releasing it slowly, but that water will still get into the wetlands, but at a rate slow enough that it doesn't cause downstream problems.
Did you change this to a 100-foot setback?
Yes, on the
Oh,
plans, it reflects the 100-foot setback,
Oh,
yes.
it's just hard to tell if you changed or not, but it
Yeah,
has all
that
been
shows-
changed?
That's fine, yeah, that shows up on sheet, it's on sheet S1. It's a little hard to see in some places because it's on S2. All the S sheets have the 100-foot upland review area per your regulations.
Is that just a line drawn on the map?
Yes.
Or was it a change in the actual layout of the,
It was not a change in the layout, it was a
Okay.
change in
okay,
identifying the
just showing
review
where it
area.
was on the map?
Yep, correct.
All right. And I see your change in the cul-de-sac on the northeast side, that was done specifically for grading issues?
Yes.
All right, and I noticed that Rain Garden 2 is significantly smaller than what it was on the previous map. How does that affect everything that's going on here?
Well, I've got the water quality volume numbers, it satisfies those. It receives the impervious area from that cul-de-sac area and treats it for more than 80% removal of the total suspended solids, so it meets all the standards. That one is a little bit deeper than the other one, so although the footprint is smaller, it does have a little bit more depth, but it meets all the requirements.
Okay, and on the site walk, we mentioned that the northwest, or the northeast side of the stormwater basin 2, just based on the grade there, was going to be quite a fill. Was there any, is there a height that you have for the northeast side of that stormwater basin?
Yeah, that's all detailed on sheet D4. We did go through this with town staff. That was a comment about whether a separate DEP dam permit would be required, and I don't believe it does. It's less than 15 feet high. But also, I want to note that this application will have to still go to DEP for their review because there's more than 5 acres disturbance. And so they'll be reviewing the erosion controls, and we'll have to do inspections after significant rain events, and we'll provide the town copies of those inspections.
Okay. And how does that process work? Once it goes to DEP, does it come back to this commission, or are we done after?
It doesn't come back to the commission, but I believe you're notified of the permit, and then you'll be copied on the inspection reports. If approved, this wetland permit becomes part of that application, so they see that documentation.
And if DEP recommends something that increase the wetland impact, they have to come back here for modification of their permit.
Okay.
If it's modified, correct.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions from the commission? I don't know how the commission feels about a third-party review on this. We have, this has been a significant problem in this town from that area for over, I can't tell you how long. The water that's coming down that, I don't feel comfortable without having somebody else. This is a huge project, and I don't know what the rest of the commission feels.
I do believe it's a large project, And a lot of it, I think, is beyond our comprehension of putting it all together and making sure everything all ties out for the benefit of the town. So I would be in favor of a third-party review.
You make that a motion, or?
Yeah.
Is that everybody is agree on that, or all the commission members?
Yes.
We can make a motion.
Yeah.
Okay.
If, I don't know if it's appropriate for me to comment, but obviously, you know, the commission, whatever direction they would like to go in that matter, but I would just, the only thing I would add is just that this was reviewed as part of the subdivision stage. Obviously, that's a number of years ago. And at that time, the firm that developed those plans was Milone and McBroom, now SLR. So we have worked very closely with SLR and their input to the design, so you're getting an opinion of a second firm there as well as with town staff and your
Right.
town engineer. But obviously, that's up to the commission, but just
Right.
that we've already had some level
Right.
of
Right.
independent review, but, you know, whatever
Right.
the
It's
commission
just a
prefers.
review of the calculations of the flooding, nothing, the rest of the design really has nothing bearing on us, you know, on the number of units and that. It's just this runoff problem has been tremendous.
Mr.
And-
Chairman, what exactly the commission is looking for from a third-party review?
To agree with these calculations he has on the 100-year, on the
Okay.
storms.
Because we had a staff meeting with the
Yeah,
applicant
right.
and the engineer in the office, and we went through all the comments and questions that was raised during the public hearing last time.
Right.
And the town engineer was also there, and I was there, and they
Right.
responded to all our comments.
Yeah.
And the town engineer is, agree with them.
Right.
But if you want to be specific that
Right.
what exactly you are looking, that it will be easier for the applicant to see, maybe they can respond, or if not, then we can hire a third party.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's on the 100, the storms, the yearly storms. And this, you know, like I said, that this isn't gonna hold up this project. You gotta go through planning, zoning, you got a lot of hurdles to clear. So it's not slowing down the process. I'm just saying, I don't think it hurts with something that's going on here to have a third-party review of that.
There is a significant amount of water that comes through there when it's raining. And I know that you've taken that into effect. I just think it's, I mean, like even when we walk there,
Yeah.
I mean, the wetlands that are marked out are, you know, when were they done?
The wetland delineation
Yeah.
was just
Last-
done recently.
Last
We-
fall, is it December date?
Yeah, November.
Yeah, that was all redone. Yeah, maybe we
Right.
should, yeah, we did go out and
Okay.
reflag all the wetlands as part of this, so we're not using the old wetland line. That's all been updated. I will say that the stormwater model we're using is the best model that's out there, and maybe the town engineer can comment to that, but this is the model that reflects the coverage and the soil type. So we are taking into account the soil types. The numbers that we're using are significantly high, and that's reflective of these soil types. Without getting into too many standards, the soils are classified as A, B, C, and D.
Right.
And this site has, the wetlands would be soil type D, and then even the upland soils mostly are C with some B. And so that's reflected in the numbers. As a rule of thumb, you typically have about 1 CFS per acre for a 25-year storm. These watersheds are not very large. The 2 is about 15 acres. And so again, for the 25-year storm, you would say, well, it would be around 15 CFS. I'm using 59. This is very conservative, with the most conservative model. We've, worked very hard. I mean, obviously, if you want to have a third-party review, but I will say that we've done everything with the model to be as conservative and reflect that
Right.
as best
I
as
mean,
possible.
My concern is just that and you've done all this, I know that, but with the amount of water that does come through there, that with all this added disturbance, we'll call it, changes.
Yep.
And you have tweaked it to make it better, that's for sure. It's still a concern that the water going into the wetlands is gonna be disturbing the wetlands because of how it's getting there. I know we're retaining it and putting it through slower, but when it really rains, I don't see how any retention pond can hold the amount of water that comes down that hill. It's amazing.
Yeah.
But that's my main concern there is on the chairman's comment, is that this is going to not be able to, it's being diverted and the wetlands are gonna get washed out in different ways and whatnot, you know?
Just for your information, during that staff meeting, I raised the same question. That because right now that land is forested and there is a lot of trees that is
Right.
observing a lot of water when it rains. Once they change the ground cover with lawn and stuff, what will be the impact? And
Right.
their calculations are based on the changes to the ground
Right.
cover, not based on forested land, yes.
Did Paul went through those calculations? I mean, did you have a chance to go through whatever they presented or not?
I did, Commissioner Paletta, I did go over them last few days, and I'm confident that, like I said, with the increase in the size of Stormwater Basin 2, which handles this additional water course, call it, I don't know if it's intermittent water course, whatever, from below Highgate, which was part of the original Highview subdivision plans. That's a big, as Mr. Quirk said, is a big increase in size of the pond. And also Stormwater Basin 2 is going down to the big pond off of Straits Turnpike, which was sized originally by SLR, formerly Malone and McBroom, for that runoff, and yet it's still, as he said, they also have the culvert in the middle of the site is still going to be feeding the wetlands. I'm not worried about them getting unwet. So I'm very confident if there's a third-party review, they come back with Mr. Quirk's calculations based on what I've seen in the last few days that he's resubmitted, so that's my feeling.
Up to the commission, somebody can make a motion or not? Make a motion? Or just drop it?
If he went over his, I mean, why we have to delay? I mean,
It's not gonna delay it, but you still got a long road
Just
here.
another
Right.
set of eyes looking
Yeah.
at it. Can't hurt.
No.
whatever you guys, I mean, I think that we have enough information from town engineer and our zoning enforcement officer, so.
Can you speak
Whatever.
louder a little bit, Mr.?
No, whatever the board agrees, but I think we do have enough information and there is enough for review on this, so. I'll go with the majority, but I feel that we have sufficient information at this time instead of spend more money for the development. But it's up to you guys.
Somebody's not gonna make a motion or drop it.
Well, we'll vote on it. Make a
Yeah.
motion to have a third party review this application. If we vote no, vote no.
You got a second?
Second.
Motion made and second. Any questions on the motion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Abstain.
I'll abstain too.
Yeah.
Carry.
No? Won't carry. You had
Who
three,
voted yes? 3,
I
Yes,
did, just
4?
4.
Okay.
4, good. Can't hurt.
Okay, the motion passed because the majority voted yes.
Right.
Okay, we will contact the firm. Mr. Chairman, this is a public hearing. Do you want to open to the public in case if somebody wants to talk?
Anybody from the public on this application? We're going to keep the public hearing open until we hear on the,
Yes, and we need an extension of time from the applicant. Roseanne, do you have the form?
The extension's granted. We'll sign something if you want.
Thank you. Okay, you need a motion to continue the public hearing?
I'll make a motion to continue the public hearing of application 2024-7.
motion made and second. Any question on the motion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
That's yours.
We need a motion, that's it, right? 4, regular meeting. 5, public participation. Anybody from the public wishing to speak?
Good thing about the Munson Road project, can I speak about that?
Well,
Or I have to wait?
There's, you can, anything on the public, you can
You can
bring up.
speak, yes.
You can
Which
speak.
application you want to talk?
He just wants to speak in public participation.
Right.
About the Munson Road project.
Munson Road, they closed the public hearing, you cannot talk about it. I'm sorry. Yes, there was a public hearing for 2 months, and it was published in the newspaper and on the website, and it was on the agenda, and they closed the public hearing, nobody can talk about it now, unfortunately.
Hey, if it's not public hearing, could I hand in some information?
Not for that application, because they closed the public hearing, they cannot get additional information now, it's too late.
Anybody else from the public? 6, action on minutes. A, regular meeting, March 14th, 2024, and B, regular meeting, April 11th, 2024. Did everybody receive the minutes?
Yes.
Yes.
Everybody review them? Any questions there?
I do have a question about the minutes for the meeting in April. There were a few commission members that did have a question about the 50-foot to the 100-foot setback on this past application that we went through. I'm just wondering how comprehensive the minutes tend to be, because on review of the tapes of the last meeting, there were 2 commission members that had specific questions that didn't make them into the minutes. I don't know, what's the legality behind that stuff? Can an applicant come back and question based on the minutes solely, or does it go back to the audio tapes?
I think it is...
I'm not trying to make anyone more work for anyone.
No, I don't want to throw Roseanne under the bus, because in my office, our supervisor wants them to be as short as possible, yes. And we don't want to make like verbatim minutes.
Correct.
In case if there is a lawsuit, then at that time we will provide verbatim minutes, that if somebody claims something, that we can provide that.
Okay, but would
but
audio
normally
tapes
our
be...
supervisor wants them to be like short and summarized, basically.
Okay,
Yes, but the tapes are available. They're online too. If somebody wants to go and look at them, they are online.
right. But if they
Yes.
don't line up with the minutes, which hold precedent?
Like, what is the issue? Like, it depends. Like, if somebody,
If something was left out of the written minutes?
yes.
And we were brought to court?
It's,
Like,
I mean, to me, it's happened multiple times, and we've...
Yeah, to meet the legal requirement of the minutes, as long as we have the item of the agenda on the minutes and what was the decision on it, who voted on it, that meets the requirement, the legal requirements. Basically, the motion sheet meets the requirements. But we also want to have some of the discussions in the minute, not everything, based on what is important, what's not. But if somebody wants a verbatim minutes, they come to the office, we will provide that for them.
Okay,
And also there is recording on website that
Right.
always they can go to them and look at that.
okay.
What we are providing for you meets the minimum requirements of the minutes by law.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Someone who make a motion on the minutes?
Make a motion to approve action on minutes A and B.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any questions on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstention? Motion-
I'll abstain on April 11th, I was not present.
Thank you. 7, pending application, application 2024-1 of Carrier Construction Incorporated for a 6-lot residential subdivision, construction of associated roadways, and construction of 6 new homes on Munson Road, Watertown. I don't know if the secretary could read the draft motion into the minutes.
It's laryngitis. I gotta find it, that's all.
All right.
You want Tom to read it for you?
No, I could read it, I have 6 of them. Here. Come on. Here.
Munson Road.
Yeah, I know
Yes.
that. All right, here. Draft motion for approval. Whereas the Watertown Conservation Commission Inland Wetland Agency, known as the agency, has received an application from Carrier Construction Incorporated for a 6-lot residential subdivision, construction of new roadways, and construction of 6 new homes located off Munson Road, Watertown, Connecticut, as shown on the site development plan titled Munson Estates, Section 2, Munson Road, Watertown, Connecticut, dated April 12th, 2024, sheets 1 through 15, prepared by Wolf Engineering. Whereas the agency determined that the proposed activities as shown on the plan set constitute a significant activity per section 2.1 of the Inland Wetland Courses Regulations of the Town of Watertown, known as the regulations. Whereas the agency has evaluated the application according to the standards and criteria for a decision per section 10.2 of the regulations in carrying out the purposes and policies of section 22A through 26 to 22A-45 of Connecticut General Statutes, including matters related to regulating, licensing, and enforcing of the provisions thereof. Whereas the agency has convened meetings and public hearings on January 11th, 2024, February 8th, 2024, March 14th, 2024, April 11th, 2024, and May 9th, 2024. Whereas the agency has held site walks on February 3rd, 2024, and March 9th, 2024. Whereas the agency has carefully considered all evidence and testimony received at the duly called public hearings and meetings from applicants, team, staff, and the public. Whereas the agency recognizes the inland wetlands and watercourses of the state of Connecticut and the town of Watertown are indispensable, irreplaceable, and a fragile natural resource. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the agency approves application number 2024-1 of Carrier Construction, Inc. with the following conditions and modifications. 1, the permittee shall notify Wetlands Enforcement Officer in writing at least 3 business days prior to the commencement of work on site and upon its completion. 2, if the approved activities are not initiated on or before May 9th, 2029, said activities shall cease, and if not previously revoked or specifically renewed or extended, this permit shall be invalid. Any request to renew or extend the expiration date of a permit should be filed in accordance with Section 11 of the Inland Wetlands and Watercourses Regulations of the Town of Watertown. Expired permits may not be renewed, and the Wetland Agency may require a new application for regulated activities. Three, all work and all regulated activities conducted pursuant to this approval shall be consistent with the permitting plan set and terms and conditions of this permit. Any structures, excavation, fill, obstructions, encroachment, or regulated activities not specifically identified and approved herein shall constitute a violation of this permit and may result in its modification, suspension, or revocation. 4, this permit is not transferable without the written consent of the Conservation Commission Inland Wetland Agency. 5, in evaluating this application, the Wetland Agency has relied on information provided by the applicant. If such information is subsequently proved to be false, incomplete, or misleading, this permit may be modified, suspended, or revoked, and the permittee may be subject to any other remedies or penalties provided by law. 6, the permittee shall employ management practices consistent with the terms and conditions of this permit to control stormwater discharges and to prevent erosion and sedimentation and to otherwise prevent pollution of the wetlands or watercourses. The permittee shall immediately inform the agency of any problems involving wetlands or watercourses that have developed during or that are caused by the approved work. 7, no equipment or material, including without limitation, fill, construction materials, or debris shall be deposited, placed, or stored in any wetland or watercourse on or off-site unless specifically approved by this permit. 8, this permit is subject to and does not derogate any rights or powers of the town of Watertown, conveys no property rights or exclusive privileges, and is subject to all public and private rights to all applicable federal, state, and local laws in conducting and maintaining any activities approved herein. The permittee may not cause pollution, impairment, or destruction of the inland wetlands and watercourses of the town of Watertown. 9, if the activity approved by the inland wetland permit also involves activity or a project that requires state or federal approval, TAHD, zoning, or subdivision approval, special permit, variance, or special exception, no work pursuant to wetlands permit may begin until such approval is obtained. 10, the permittee shall maintain sediment and erosion controls at the site in such an operable condition as to prevent the pollution of wetlands and watercourses. Said controls are to be inspected by the permittee for deficiencies at least once per week and immediately after rains. The permittee shall correct any such deficiencies within 24 hours of said deficiency being found. The permittee may maintain such control measures until all areas of disturbed soils at the site are stabilized. The permittee shall maintain such control measures until all areas of disturbed soils and sites are stabilized. 11, a wetland performance bond shall be posted by Carrier Construction Incorporated for the proposed erosion and sediment control measures and marking of conservation easement by posts and placards. The bond estimate shall be provided by the applicant to the Department of Public Works for review and approval. 12, there shall be no other on-site disturbance except what is proposed by the final plans for construction and approved by the commission within the limits of clearing and regulated areas. 13, a pre-construction meeting shall be held with agency staff prior to any site activity. A 24-hour name, address, and telephone number must be provided by the site construction manager, and a written notification is required 3 business days prior to any on-site activity. 14, the permittee must minimize the amount of soil disturbance on site at any one time. A narrative phasing plan must be submitted for review and approval by town engineer and wetland enforcement officer. 15, final site plans and filing Mylar of the site development plan must be signed and dated by the soil scientist who delineated the wetlands on the site. Final motion for approval shall be printed on the final Mylar. 16, prior to the commencement of soil disturbance within regulated areas, disturbance limits shall be demarcated with silt fence. 17, proposed stone wall shall be constructed prior to the issuance of a certificate of occupancy for each building lot. That's it.
Paul, on this retention pond, is this going to be the town's retention pond? Or?
It is, Mr. Chairman. Yep, it's our responsibility to maintain it.
Oh, I thought there was a change in that we're going to,
No,
no.
no, it's easily accessible from the road, which is
Okay.
rare for us in our
Right.
60 basins, so no, we're going to maintain it, so.
Any other questions in the commission?
I have a question on, excuse me, page 1, number 2. It says if the approved activities are not initiated on or before May 9, 2029, said activities shall cease, and if not previously revoked, renewed, et cetera, the permit shall be invalid. If the approved activities are not initiated, then how can we issue a cease and desist if nothing's been done? I think that should be stricken.
No, basically, they have 5 years to start the work there.
Right, so the approved activities, if they are not initiated by May 9, 2009, there's no reason to say the activity shall cease, and it just says if the permit has not been previously revoked or extended. So if it's automatically no work has been done, there's no cease and desist that has to be issued or could be issued.
No, if they don't do it within 5 years, it expires. Their permit will expire.
There's no need to tell them to cease and desist. They already did that on
Right,
their
I just
own.
don't think it should say something like the approved activities are not initiated on or before May 9, 2029, and the permit was not previously revoked or specifically renewed or extended, it's invalid.
Okay,
I don't see why we need that in there.
okay, you can change it.
And then, also on number 2, where it says any request to renew or extend the expiration date of a permit should be filed, that should be shall, no?
Shall, you can change it to shall.
Page 2 on number 8, permitting needs an extra E in the end. Toward the end of it's minor, but might make a change if we're doing other ones.
What was that one?
On
Number
page
8?
2, number 8,
Yep.
it's like the end of the third, three sentences to the end of the paragraph says permittee, ITTE, it should be double E. Again, it's minor, but we're making other changes, so. And I have one last question on page 3, number 15. It says final motion for approval shall be printed on a final Mylar. Is that the motion we've approved? The date would go on there stamped on that R?
Yes,
Okay.
this
That's fine, I
permit
just need
will be
Mylar
on the
notification.
Mylar in future. If somebody go there and research the property, this will
That's
be
fine.
there.
Makes sense.
Yes.
I just want to make sure.
Any other questions on this?
14 was approved.
Okay.
Someone make a motion to approve with the changes?
I'll make
To
a
approve
motion.
Changes, application 7A.
Second.
Motion made in second. Any question on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, any abstentions? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Well, you just made.
You just made a motion on the changes. We
Changes,
didn't vote on
we
it.
didn't approve it.
Unapproved.
Right.
So I'll make a motion to approve it.
No, the motion was this. It should be seconded and you read
He
the
made a
motion.
motion to, no, he made a motion
But
to.
for the
about
Made the changes. That
We
is
haven't done
done.
anything
Yeah.
else.
Yes, but
We
you
haven't
read the
voted on this.
motion, yes.
Right.
Somebody should second the motion
Right.
and then vote.
A second the motion.
Okay.
Motion made in second. Any
Discussion?
questions on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion
Aye.
carries. Thank you.
You don't let him time for comments.
Did that already now. B, application 2024-5 of William Zarella for the construction of a covered boat slip on the shore of Lake Winnemucca, ADA compliant ramp, installation of a ground-mounted solar panels, upland review area 229 Crusoe Drive, Watertown. Now, you ready for the second one?
Run along.
Or do you want
Yeah.
Mike to read this one?
You want me to read it?
I'm ready to do it. This is on Elk Road.
Want mine?
I got it.
You can take mine.
Thanks. All right. Draft motion for approval. Whereas the Watertown Conservation Commission, Inland Wetland Agency, known as the agency, has received an application from Linda Zarello for construction of a handicapped covered dock and handicapped ramp, landscaping with the regulated area, within a regulated area, and installation of an 18 by 24 ground-mounted solar panel within a regulated area at 229 Caruso Drive, Watertown, Connecticut, as shown on a site plan titled Conceptual Development Plan ADA Accessible Boat Slip, Alt 1, 229 Caruso Drive, Watertown, Connecticut, prepared for Linda Zarello, dated February 6, 2024, prepared by Dymar Engineering. Whereas the agency determined that proposed activities as shown on the plan set constitute a significant activity per section 2.1 of the Inland Wetland and Watercourses Regulations of the Town of Watertown, known as the regulations. Whereas the agency has evaluated the application according to the standards and criteria for a decision per section 10.2 of the regulations in carrying out the purposes and policies of section 22A 22A-26 to 22A-45 of the Connecticut General Statutes, including matters related to regulating, licensing, and enforcing of the provisions thereof. Whereas the agency has convened meetings and public hearings on March 14th, 2024, April 11th, 2024, and May 9th, 2024. Whereas the agency has held a site walk on April 11th, 2024. Whereas the agency has carefully considered all the evidence and testimony received at the duly called public hearing and meetings from applicants, team, staff, and public. Whereas the agency recognizes that inland wetlands and watercourses of the state of Connecticut and the town of Watertown are indispensable, irreplaceable, and a fragile natural resource. Now therefore, be it resolved that the agency approves application 2024-5 of Linda Zarello, subject to the following conditions and modifications. 1, the permittee shall notify wetlands enforcement officer in writing at least 3 business days prior to the commencement of work on site and upon its completion. 2, the approved activities are not initiated on or before May 9th, 2029. Said activities shall cease, and if not previously revoked or specifically renewed or extended, this permit shall be invalid. Any request to renew or extend the expiration date of a permit should be filed in accordance with Section 11 of the Inland Wetlands and Watercourses Regulations of the Town of Watertown. Expired permits may not be renewed, and the Wetland Agency may require a new application for regulated activities. 3, all work and all regulated activities conducted pursuant to this approval shall be consistent with the permitting plan set and terms and conditions of this permit. Any structures, excavation, fill, obstructions, encroachment, or regulated activities not specifically identified and approved herein shall constitute a violation of this permit and may result in its modification, suspension, or revocation. 4, this permit is not transferable without the written consent of Conservation Commission and the Wetland Agency. 5, in evaluating this application, the Wetland Agency has relied on information provided by the applicant. If such information is subsequently proved to be false, incomplete, or misleading, this permit may be modified, suspended, or revoked, and the permittee may be subject to any other remedies or penalties provided by law. 6, the permittee shall employ management practices consistent with the terms and conditions of this permit to control stormwater discharges and to prevent erosion and sedimentation and to otherwise prevent pollution of the Lake Winnemont. 7, no equipment or material, including without limitation, fill, construction materials, or debris, shall be deposited, placed, or stored in any wetland or watercourse on or off-site unless specifically approved by this permit. 8, this permit is subject to and does not degrade any rights or powers of the town of Watertown, conveys no property rights or exclusive privileges, and is subject to all public and private rights and to all applicable federal, state, and local laws. In conducting and maintaining any activities approved herein, the permittee may not cause pollution, impairment, or destruction of the inland wetlands and watercourses of the town of Watertown. 9, if the activity approved by the inland wetlands permit also involves activity or a project that requires state and or federal approval, building, zoning approval, special permit, variance, or special exception, no work pursuant to the wetlands permit may begin until such approval is obtained. 10, the permittee shall maintain sediment and erosion controls at the site in which an operable condition is to prevent the pollution of wetlands and watercourses. Said controls are to be inspected by the permittee for deficiencies at least once per week and immediately after rains. The permittee shall correct any such deficiencies within 24 hours of said deficiency being found. The permittee shall maintain such control measures until all areas of disturbed soils at the site are stabilized. 11, there shall be no other on-site disturbance except what is proposed by the final plans for construction and approved by the commission within the limits of clearing and regulated areas. 13, a pre-construction meeting shall be held with agency staff prior to any site activity. A 24-hour name, address, and telephone number must be provided by the site construction manager, and a written notification is required 3 business days prior to any on-site activity. 14, prior to the commencement of soil disturbance within regulated areas, disturbance limits shall be demarcated, and erosion and sediment control shall be installed in accordance with the site plan. 15, the area between the edge of the lake and the upper part of the backyard slope shall be planted using Planter's Choice Nursery Plants List, aka order number 101490, dated 12/13/2023, provided by the applicant. 16, the permittee shall follow the construction steps provided by the applicant and planting notes and erosion and sediment control measures provided on the site by the Dymar Engineering. That's it.
Just have a question on this. Does, a couple of times the commission asked for a complete plan. Do we have a complete plan on whatever we're supposed to do on this?
On this one, yes, the latest plan that you made a decision on is the one that you have it in the package.
That we made a decision or we're going to make a decision?
No, the one that you are going to make a decision.
Got it.
Yes.
So the same issues at number 2, the should be shall.
Yeah, I think it's the same thing with cut and paste, which would make sense.
The cease and desist shall cease part has to be corrected.
Paul, where does this lie with Public Works, or whatever happened with the questions on the slopes and that? Did we ever get?
I don't think after the site walk, Mr. Chairman, I think the slopes are an issue. We still have an issue with the third driveway, but
Right.
that's still to be resolved, so.
Now, I have a question on, so if this is, we did more than one site walk, but one of them was on a different permit, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that's fine. And then I have my question of, if this is supposed to be ADA compliant, that slope does not meet ADA. And if it's gonna meet ADA, there's gonna be a lot more changes in grade than is provided.
Yeah.
So how does that?
That's why it has to be approved by building department. He will
But the
look at that.
disturbance is gonna be hugely different.
If it's different than this plan, they have to come back to you, if it is within the
Well,
regulated
the plan
area.
isn't complete. It doesn't show numbers of yardage of moving, filling, or cuts or fills. It doesn't have any of that. How are we gonna get this slope without knowing that's the first I saw that this is gonna be an ADA ramp. The last we talked, the stairs were over on the other side and we're gonna walk through the whole thing. That changed and now we're on this. So how do we approve a slope that is, how does that work?
You're approving the regulated activities within the regulated area.
No, I got that
Yes.
part. So we're within the regulated area.
Yes.
This ADA slope has to be 12 feet before a switchback. It's a percent of grade. It's not gonna match there. So
That
the
is something
cuts
that
and
the
fills
building
are gonna be
inspector will
huge.
look at. I already had a meeting with the building inspector. Once we send them to him, then he will look at that,
Right,
to
but,
see if it meets or not.
okay, so the way it's proposed, there's virtually no disturbance and no cuts and fills. And since there's no, it doesn't say there's no cuts or fills, and it doesn't say whether there are, how much material is being moved, how is that gonna happen? Because how does he know whether it's different or not? How do we get our, notified that this is changed? But the building inspector doesn't know how much is gonna be cut or filled, and he has no way of telling us that because it's not on this map. This is an incomplete map.
You are basically approving like a ramp within the regulated area, within the upland review area. What is associated with that, they have to come to zoning for zoning permit, and if it requires more activities, then they will come back to you for modification.
More activities than what is my question? This is showing it basically on grade that it exists. So if that grade does not, that means anything other than existing grade has to come back to us?
No, I mean.
I just don't want to get
Yeah.
jammed up later. If the work starts, that's worse than fixing the problem now.
If you approve this location for the ramp, whatever is associated, whatever activity is associated with it should be approved, basically, by you.
Right, but if this slope changes, the grades next to it are going to change, and that's going to significantly change a lot of things.
Like what?
The amount of material and the slopes and what's being moved and changed is it could get outside of this area of work. But without proper,
I agree with what-
information.
No, I agree with you, I not disagree.
Yeah,
but-
no,
But this was the map that you saw last time, and you asked for
I
a
didn't see
motion
this
to.
last time.
It was,
I did not see this
no,
map
it
last
wasn't in your packet.
time. It wasn't in my packet. I brought the
You
other
should
packet.
look.
It's here, it's not here. This is the first time I got this.
I'd like to add what information is what Joe Paletta and, Commissioner Paletta and Commissioner Dalton said. This whole draft motion, I have an issue with because it's basically saying we're going to follow the conceptual development plan. Now, the last few applications we've had here, we've had basically heavy-duty engineering drawings, calculations, third-party reviews. We don't have a definitive plan here. We have a conceptual plan, and if you go through and read these things, how are you going to enforce this if right now it's a nebulous idea? Yes, we understand the concept of what's going to happen, but we do not know how it's going to happen. And what Commissioner Dalton said is that, we're going to have all these other issues that aren't dealing with the wetlands, particularly right now with the ADA and everything else. These things are not answered. Our town engineer said they're not answered. And like I said, if you read through here, it's going to be impossible to enforce this. It's like number 7, no equipment or material, including without limitation, fill, construction materials, debris, shall be deposited, placed, or stored in any wetland or water course on or off site unless specifically approved by the permit. What is approved in this permit?
But there is nothing in the water course or wetlands.
They're building in the pond. They're building in the water.
No, you're approving that, I mean,
What I'm saying, we don't have there's absolutely nothing concrete that I can see here that we can basically follow through and check off the list like we had for the subdivision we went through and everything else. We have, we had a 6-lot
But
subdivision. We had
the scope of this application compared to a subdivision or 42 building.
But we still have to use the same criteria. We had a defined plan, whatever else
It is-
we had. I don't see this as.
Yeah, it is just a draft motion, you make your own motion.
I'm saying, but that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying, so just to follow up on what,
No, it is just
Commissioner
a
Paletta and
draft.
Dalton said.
Yeah.
Right,
I
we
still
can
think it's
adjust it.
enforced.
You directed me to draft a motion.
I understand,
I
I'm not.
drafted this, now
And
you
the
can
whole
change
purpose-
it, yes.
Yeah, the whole purpose is so we can go through it and make sure we're doing it effectively.
Of course, that is your right.
And like I said, we're addressing a conceptual development plan. Is that right there in and of itself is stating it's not a plan? It's not finalized. We do not have a blueprint. Again, it's a great idea, but again, how do we enforce it? There's no way of enforcing it if there's no set parameters.
And to speak on those parameters, it says that you're going to follow the construction steps. And in the construction steps, number 1, it states right here that if the lake is sufficiently lowered, there might be no need for the cofferdam. Now, I remember the last application that came through, there were steps to build a cofferdam, but there's no mention to if the lake is lowered. Is that something that needs to go through engineering? Is that something that needs to go through DEP? I mean, that's 158 acres worth of lake right there to lower. Like, what's the ramifications of that if it comes to what is in the construction steps here?
That was previous, that's done now.
It's right in front of us, right now.
And I already.
Please
No.
come here, introduce
Yeah.
yourself, and then talk. Please, come.
All right, want to call for the motion?
What do you want to do with the motion?
No, is he going to talk?
Okay, this was
Apparently
the
he's not gonna
motion,
talk.
this was
Right.
the draft motion.
Right,
If we
so
want
we're
to
not,
change the motion,
Do you
we
want to
change
make
it.
changes to that, or you want to withdraw this motion, you want to make your own motion? It's up to you. Yes.
Right.
right, so either you got to withdraw this one, or, vote on this and then change.
It's up to us. Whatever we
Yeah.
want to do.
Like I said, I don't know how you
We haven't gotten anywhere with a plan. So we're here again, where we've got a conceptual concept
Right.
here, that if you polled everybody in this room, they're all gonna have a
Yeah.
different idea how it's gonna
Right.
transpire. So we're kicking the can down the road. We haven't gotten any definitive plans on any part of this process, is my opinion.
Should we table it?
No,
Ta-
you can't
you can't.
table, you gotta
No.
come up with a,
Right.
with a motion. But to me, it's just really hard to look
Right.
past the fact that, I know there was an engineer on there that said that there was no wetland soils in an area that the town mapping states that there were wetland soils, and on the site walk, there's wetland soils on either side of the view from the house. I think there needs to be some sort of corrective measures
Right.
in place before this
Well, there's no,
application can get.
like I said, there's
Actually,
no,
on this map, the area between the blue line,
Right.
which is the edge of the lake, and the green line, this area in between was wetland before the subdivision, but during the construction of the site, they removed the topsoil and everything. That's why when the soil scientist went there, he saw this site after this area was disturbed. That's why he said that there is no wetlands.
I understand
Yeah,
that.
but now, the applicant we want the applicant to plant from the edge of the lake all the way to the top of the bank of that slope, according to that list
So-
of the plants that they
So to
presented.
Commissioner Dalton's point there, if he's gonna plant, we went on the site walk, it's all rock. How many yards of topsoil need to come in there? What's gonna change there? It's just, the plan's not comprehensive.
I agree, and there was.
Just for defense of the applicant, you
Right.
had 3 nights of meeting on this.
Right.
Actually, 5 nights before that,
Right.
and you are raising this question in the last minute.
No, we've asked
These
all these
questions
questions
were
every
asked
time,
multiple times.
and they haven't.
But
been-
again,
They haven't
you
been-
They're
asked
not
me to,
complete.
you
They've
asked me
never
to
been
draft a
complete.
motion, I
Right.
did it. If you are
That's
disagree with
fine.
that, just totally ignore that.
Right.
Make your own motion or request what you want, what you are looking for, yes.
No, Draft motion's fine, but it's not complete. It's never been, we've asked
You
for a
can
complete set.
add to that, you can
of
add to
plan.
this draft motion
No,
if you
no,
want.
this is
Yes.
fine. This isn't complete. The plan that we're going to, in my opinion, is not complete.
Okay.
It's been asked since day one for a complete plan. We finally, this is the first time I'm seeing this map with the plants put in place. That's great, but how much dirt is being put in there? How much, it says up here, 6 inches topsoil. Over this area is calculates out to, there's no scale on this map, so there's no way to calculate it. But how much topsoil are we putting in with these plants? This has to be,
And there's no-
none of this is complete, and it's been asked every
No,
single time.
we have the full plan, that the skills and everything is on the full plan. The reason that you have this section, it shows all the regulatory activities.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want, I have the full maps in the office, I can go and get it, if you want to look at that.
Well, either we gotta vote on this motion and make our own.
Yeah.
Because there was never any talk about what impacts when he's digging in the lake. What does it do to the waves and everything else? There was no discussion on what's going on in the water. That's not addressed here. There is no plan in front of us. The water is owned by the town. He doesn't regulate the height of the water. There's fire protection there. You cannot lower the water because then those people have no fire protection. You just can't do this. This isn't in our scope.
The
Nobody
plans
talks
don't-
about, and there was no
this-
alternative given. He could always put the dock back where it was.
I mean, this plan
That was
doesn't
already
show
there.
anything about the coffer dams, it doesn't show any of this.
On the plan.
Sir, unless you come up and
You should
state
come
your name
here,
and you
introduce
can't.
yourself. Please, yes,
You were
please sit
asked.
here, yes.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Please
I'm
sit,
just listening to you get aggravated.
introduce yourself and then explain to the commission.
Bill Zarillo,
Okay.
Address. It was on. Hit the button again.
Can you
There
go
you
to the
go.
office and get the folder for this application?
Hit that button again, please. There you go. State your name
Okay.
and address.
Yes, Bill Zarillo, 229 Crusoe Drive. First of all, let me address a couple of questions. Maybe we'll just address one at a time because there's so many that you asked. The plans are fully done. We gave you an alternate plan, which is the one we're going with, to have the slope that goes to the boat slip approved. I already went to the building department and talked to Jeff about it. It meets, because it's not a handicap ramp for walking, it's for a cart to bring down, okay? Sit in a cart, you drive down, just like you do in a golf course, okay? So it meets his approval. I already talked to him about that, and then I went across and talked to Musa about that. All right, the plans are full. They show a coffer dam on a plan, okay? We're not lowering the water. That was something we suggested many moons ago, okay? We're not touching the water whatsoever. A coffer dam will prevent anything from going over there. The water's very shallow. We're going to continue the shallow water into the boat slip. We already gave you the plans how we're going to do that. We're going to put the sandbag, which is this is done all the time, okay? You go to Quassapog or any other lakes, they do a coffer dam, which is basically just some sandbags with sand in it, okay, to prevent any sediment going out, okay? And then once the foundation, which is a very simple, we did the simplest foundation ever on that plan. If you look at it, it's 1 foot by 4 foot by 8 feet tall to go into the water, okay? And then we build the deck on that. All right, so once those forms are built, we just scoop the soil that's there out and we put it on the bank. Okay, that's there. Okay, that's all rock ledge. Then Mark from Land Corps said we put 4 inches of soil over that because it's rock, even though it was rock there before, and then we plant the plantings you approve of, okay? And that's what we're going to do to approve. So we do got the plantings there. We're not disputing anything else. We're not lowering the lake. We're not doing any of that, okay? It's very simple construction. This is simpler than build a simple little shed that most of you have in your yard. And we're getting far into the year. I'm going to miss...
This is the plan we had, sir.
Pardon me, sir?
Now. This is the plan we've had, so.
I can't see that far.
I got it now.
Does it have the coffer dam on it?
It doesn't have anything.
Can I come up and look at it to see if we're on the same page?
This is the plan we need. Here's what we were given. This is what we were going by today. It doesn't have
Yes,
all
it has the
the
coffer dam right here.
It doesn't, but no one knows, it's not marked. Now we have this, so now we need to look at
Let's see, what's this say right here?
Yeah, but we didn't have this, sir, until
Oh,
just this
okay,
second.
I didn't know.
Okay.
Okay, please, yeah.
So let us take a look at this since we just got them.
Now, this is a plan I designed originally, then we had me go to an engineer to pay for him to do the same plan. This is a very simple structure.
The structure is not the issue that we're dealing with. We're dealing with how we got to where we are right now.
Yeah, it's
What you're
very
just
co-
intimating,
Yeah.
what you just stated, is that this was ancient history to bringing the water level down.
No, it was suggested one of the ways instead of building a coffer dam.
Right. So
Okay.
this is April 11th, this is our last meeting. I was not in attendance, but I had.
Yes, sir.
to listen to his own. And basically, as part of this package, construction stage 2, dewater pond 2C is draw lake down to elevation of 655 feet plus or minus. Anticipate 6 to 7 days, subject to weather conditions, pumps will be provided, da-da-da. And then there's other things here, like in the first part, construction, stage 1 site preparation. 1B, contractors submit a final sequence of construction for review prior to start of work. We don't have anything right now. We don't know what it's.
I sent you the plan, the steps of construction. That was submitted a long time ago. Okay, which is basically where we put in erosion first, okay, which includes the coffer dam, okay, and then, you know, bales of hay, or what they call these rolls that they have now, along the edges, okay. Then we install the foundations, which is the 1 by 4 by 8 feet tall foundations, okay. Once those are in, okay, the step was we start excavating from the lake back so the water comes towards the boathouse, not away, all right. And it's very shallow there, so we're not going to have any problem with that.
But there was never any discussion of what disturbances this caused in the lake, on the lake itself. There's nothing here from anybody when you.
The coffer dam stops any prevention, just like any, just like.
When you're putting a solid structure in the water, you're changing the water flow. You're putting
We're
a
actually,
solid structure out there.
we're actually adding wetlands, aren't we, by adding another 12 feet by 24 feet worth of wetland area, by excavating that area and extending the lake into my property?
That's water course, that's not
Water course.
wetlands.
That's
Okay.
not wetlands.
All right.
Yeah.
But and everything you asked me to do, I've done. And I've come down to Moose's office before these meetings, from the engineer's sites to anything you needed, to make sure everything, and I did that this week too. Okay, I came down early in the week, said, we all set, there's anything I need to do. And each time, for the last 5 meetings, yes, we're all set, we're all set.
Why
So-
can't the dock be put back where the dock was?
Pardon me?
Why can't the dock be put back where it was?
Well, I got the dock out there right now, but let me tell you, docks are not good for people that have balance problems, because they wobble.
But this could be built in the same area where the dock is, no?
No.
Why?
The dock, no, this goes inland, so it's terra firma, you load the boat, and then you lower the boat and you go. What's great about this is you're not keeping a boat in the winter, water all year round. You're only putting the boat in the water when you need it, okay? You take it out when you don't need it, okay? There's no disturbance of the Bentic area, the water underneath the lake when installing the docks. We talked about this in taking the docks out, which is very difficult to do. On top of it, I need something that doesn't move, okay? And it's not obtrusive. This is going to look a lot better looking, and if you've seen all the neighbors signed off, say, yes, this is better, okay, than looking at a dock that's out there. And a dock that's not useful to me and my wife, okay? And I really have done everything you've told me to do. There's not one thing you haven't told me to do that I haven't done.
You do have a big area there. Why can't the solar panels be moved out of this area? Because you're gonna have to cut.
No,
Can't-
no. The solar panels is actually, they're bags. They fill, it's surface mounted with enough weight so that you can't take the wind. It's very easy. They can be removed very easily. You can put in there, when I move out, you take them out, okay? It's very simple. There's no disturbance, actually, to sit on the land. The slope there is perfect for it, which is,
Yeah, but you're gonna have to cut around it, the brush and the grass.
No, we're going to put all the natural stuff there, so you don't have to worry about all low-laying stuff next to the solar panels, okay? Of course, it's all jagged rock right now. That was, if you remember, when you walked the site, you could see the
Right.
rock sticking up. That was all a rock face there. Originally, that was all rock face there, okay?
Well, you're putting 12-inch concrete piers, you're gonna take them out too when you take the panels out?
No. The boat is going to add to the property.
No, the solar panels up on land.
No, they're like plastic containers that are filled with, you actually can fill them with water, but you can fill them with concrete. You just got to make sure you have enough weight so that the solar panels, and that's all engineered, okay? But there's nothing really excavating for the solar panels at all. And the slope is right there, and the slope is a poor soil to begin with. That's a perfect place to put it. And it faces south. Due south. Right now, my house is mostly energy efficient, but we have 3 electric cars, okay? So we went from net zero, okay, which means no energy, to we got an electric bill now because you're charging cars. If we didn't have the cars, we didn't do it. So I'm allowed, and I got approval from our electric company, because you got to get the approval first, to add another 7 kW of solar panels, which will make us net zero again, which will be one of the few, if not only, houses in Watertown that do not add to our poor air quality or energy needs. Right now, I'm pretty much there. My house is geothermal. I spent a lot of money on this house to do it right. I'm a conservationist. If anybody knows my history here, I go down to the Caribbean and rebuild coral reefs. I teach at post. I'm bringing 6 post students down to learn to dive and do conservation in 2 weeks. I know what I'm doing. I know how to identify wetlands. I teach earth sciences.
Well, the problem is this map is in February. This is the first time I've seen it. I don't know. I've never seen it.
Well, it has been presented several times to this.
This map?
Yes, sir. As a matter of fact, you said, oh, alternative, because that was one of the things you said, oh, we got 2 maps here? Yes, sir, you did see it. And we're getting late into the season. And I really bent over backwards. I would appreciate you give me a positive vote. And I promise you that it would be one of the best conservation properties on in Watertown. Everything's electric. The boat's electric, the car's electric.
I got a question, because some of the people that didn't see it, I don't remember seeing it, but can we table this so we get review a little bit for next month?
I mean, what are you looking for?
No, I'm just saying because we never saw, nobody says.
It was presented to you last month.
Okay, but my point is, it looks to me that some of the people that are not they're not prepared maybe to vote on this because they didn't see it. Can we postpone it for next meeting?
They postponed it last month, okay? To say they're going to review it.
By May 18, you make a decision, unless you get an extension. You
I
have
don't-
to May 18.
We're getting late in the season, gentlemen. I really did do, in good faith, everything you've asked me to do.
If you still have to go through planning and zoning.
Okay, sir, but
Right, you're
but
not-
we're still, we
Right,
still,
you're not digging yet. You gotta go through planning and zoning, which could be a public hearing, and that could, I don't know what goes on there, but.
It doesn't have to go to Planning and Zoning Commission, it goes to the Zoning Enforcement Officer for a zoning permit.
Okay.
And then it goes to the building department for a
Yeah.
building permit.
If Jeff and everybody reviewed it, how come there's no comments here?
He
about that?
already looked at that, and he said that when it comes to me, I will look at that. If there is any changes, I will let you know. But he said that the way Mr. Zarello explained to him, he said that that is fine. Because this is not for somebody who wants to walk on this. This is, they sit in a cart or something and bring them to the boat launch.
Well, that's not what it said in the motion, so that was my question. That's what created the question.
But you just look at to see what is the impact on the wetlands.
Right.
That is all you have to look.
Right, and this is impact on this is the first I've seen of this being, last we talked, we were getting rid of this driveway. Now we're putting it in.
No,
That was,
last time it was a different way.
Different
and
driveway last time, it was coming out the other side.
Let me show you this one. Last time it was like this, but it was too steep.
so,
And then they made it like this to make it not too steep.
two different maps, both dated the
Yeah.
same, and they both have all the same.
Yeah, that is another alternative. We picked that alternative because that's a better one.
All right. Well, I must have slept through that part of the meeting, so, because I did not see this.
I'm here to answer any questions. You really did the homework on this.
Yes, I'm not debating that.
Well, like I said, there's still no discussion of the impacts of this in the water. That was never talked about.
This is done all the time. You go to Quassapog, it's done all the time.
This is the first
That's
one.
what the sandbags, the coffer dam does, okay? This is less impact than me putting the docks in every year.
I did call the Bantam Lake Association. They're not allowed on Bantam Lake anymore.
Anymore?
They're not allowed.
Okay,
There's no boathouses being built. They do not allow them.
right. Did you call Quassapog? Did you call all the other lakes? I mean, this is done. this is-
Quassapog's a private lake.
Right,
It's not owned by the town.
right.
This is owned by the town.
No, they still have to get approval by town. I talked to those guys over there. You still got to get their approval. We're not talking about a big project. This is a very simple project. This is a handicap project. I can't believe we're getting a hard time for something so simple. It really is simple. You look at the structure, it's less complicated than any barn. The only reason, just has a roof on it so we can put a very simple lift to lift the boat out of the water, so it stays out of the water, which is healthier for the lake to have a boat out of the water than in the water.
Moose, is this the norm if there's already a violation on the property? Nothing to do with wetlands, but when you're giving out permits in the office, he has a violation on the driveway, correct?
Can I comment on that?
Excuse me, I'm talking to, yeah.
Yes.
So
That-
when, I thought, when you go to get a building permit, they won't give you one until you,
No,
So-
the third driveway is outside of the regulated area. That is an issue in front of the Public Works Department, and it is in violation of zoning regulations, not
Okay.
wetland regulations.
so
Yes.
zoning will give him a permit even though he has a violation already.
No, we didn't issue a permit, and they're working together, I think the applicant.
I went
and
there
the Public
several
Works
times.
Department on that issue. That is not for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just didn't know how the permit process worked.
No,
Just-
that's not for us.
Mr. Palmer, if I could just comment on that? If we take 10 feet of that third driveway and cut it out, and then I add another 2,000 square feet of asphalt from that driveway to my other driveway, in other words, another 2,000 feet of tar,
Mr.
then I'll be
Zarello,
legal.
Mr. Zarello, I have to stop you. That's not an issue of this
Right.
Okay, but I'm
application.
saying, I did the
Yes.
most conservation thing for that.
Right.
This is the map that I drafted this motion based on. I
Got
mean,
it.
if there's something missing, you can ask for it. If you are agree with the motion, you can make a decision on it. If you want to make changes, please feel free to do that. Or you can totally ignore this, make your own motion if you want. It's up to you.
As long as I don't have to read it again.
Any other comments from the commission? We're going to add to this motion or vote on this current one?
Well, I want to look through this again. Doesn't matter to me how we do it, but this is all my normal stuff, right?
I'm going on record saying I think.
There
the
is
motion deficient.
one of the condition, it explains that your permit doesn't allow him to go tomorrow and build these things.
Right.
He has to go to zoning, he has to go to the building, and once he get all these permits, then he can start building it. You just approve the regulated activities, period. That's it.
Get confused on this thing.
So the regular stuff, right, all the way through.
Waiting for Ned to add into it?
Is there some sort of corrective measures because of the wetlands that were there that aren't there anymore? Does there need to be corrective measures taking place?
Well, he gave a planning
That's-
schedule, but not how it's going to be done. But
And we have basically a printout of plants that anybody could have gotten done. It's basically dated in 2023. There's no plan on where they're going to go or anything else. I don't know. I just, like I said, I'm just going on record. I don't think our permit's enforceable by the way it's presented. We have nothing laid out in stone that we can stop or comment on as it goes.
And if you want, you can put whatever conditions that you put on this map, and then Mr. Zarolo should make a Mylar to file it in the town clerk office with all the conditions.
before he starts,
I'm sorry?
before he starts.
Yes.
Or it comes back to us for review, right?
No.
No.
Paul and I will review the Mylar.
To approve it on those conditions.
Yeah, we'll see how it's going.
So
I'll
What
move
do you-
that,
Ned, you got
this
something?
is, so what did we do about this? I knew there was something here. So it's Paul's comments. It says the grade proposed is, slope is 19%. We understand it's not a walking, but it's kind of not what it says. Maximum
to change it.
ADA ramp is 8.3%. We're not concerned because it's a golf cart apparently, or something to that effect. So we're ADA for this, but not for that. And then the side access drive proposes grade steep 1 foot. Engineered wall needs to be shown on the plan unless regrading in 3 above reduces the slope, this slope. So has that been done? If this is the map from last month, this hasn't been addressed. Correct?
Paul?
From the field walk, Commissioner Dalton, this was a rock slope, which technically didn't have to be regraded, but then it's supposed to be topsoil and seeded, so I'm not sure exactly how that's
We're doing that.
going to happen.
So, but number 4 on your memo here is the east side of the access drive shows proposed grades as steep as 1 foot horizontal to 2 foot vertical, 200% grade.
Right.
Unless rock is encountered, an engineered wall needs to be shown on the plan unless regrading in 3, which is up here above, reduces this slope to the maximum of 2 feet horizontal and 1 foot vertical. So that hasn't been addressed.
I think that was based on this plan, because it was a shorter ramp, and now they made it longer, and the slope changes. You want to come and look at it?
No, I've seen it, I commented, there is a rock slope there now, which doesn't need to be graded technically, but he's showing topsoil and seeding in part of that area, which is not gonna happen, or it's not gonna be stable as constituted on the ground right now.
You're the one that said it needs the wall, not me.
I know, because I said unless rock it is rock, or alongside this walkway
So
driveway.
that's what you're talking, but that's, okay.
Yeah.
All right, well,
But if I make a motion and you add it, whatever you want to add it to.
yeah, that's
Okay,
what it is.
I'll move that application 2024-5 of Williams Zarilla for construction.
No, the
No,
motion
no,
was
the
already
motion, are we
there.
going by this motion, or are we?
Okay, I'll
doing our
make a
own
motion then to approve the draft that Musa plus the changes, with the changes.
What are the changes?
He's gonna be.
No, we're
he has-
not, I was just asking some questions, I don't know, if that's what he's saying, it's okay, the rock wall is the wall that we're looking for.
With the plan that has to be reviewed by the zoning enforcement officer and the town engineer.
We already put that.
Right, that's it.
That is already in the
So-
draft motion.
That's
So
what my motion
that's
is.
good. All right,
This was the motion. If somebody should second it and then
My motion
Vote
is
on
to
it.
approve, yes.
right,
Make a motion, second,
right, that's
Yeah.
already
Yeah.
been done.
Anybody second the motion?
I'll second it.
Discussion on the motion.
It's already been.
Like I said, I don't know if you need that map needs to be updated. There is no discussion of what impacts are happening to the water anywhere I see. It's already, you're disturbing a new area, correct?
Yes,
The only disturbance in the water will be like from the edge of water here, they are digging inside on the property. And the water basically moves into the property. That will be the only disturbance here. They are not doing anything else in the water.
So does that change the property line? Because doesn't it say that the town owns the water line
To the edge of the water, yes.
to the edge of the water? So if you're
Yes.
changing the edge of the water, how does that affect his personal property line versus who he owns and what the town owns? If he's gonna change the water line into where his boathouse is, does the town technically own his boathouse at that point? Or the land under the boathouse?
We leave that to the zoning enforcement officer to decide what happens to the property line and stuff. That's not an issue for us.
So you have a motion. Yeah, this,
I never remember seeing this map handed out at a meeting. And I polled the commissioners, I don't ever remember seeing it. I don't know why you would have 8 or 9 copies of these ready to hand out.
Yeah, this is from that map. The reason that we didn't send it in the packet because we didn't have 12 copies. But now you have it.
yeah. All right, time for a vote.
Good on the discussion?
Aye.
Motion made, same. All in favor? All opposed?
Opposed?
Opposed? Any abstention?
2
I'm abstaining.
abstain.
Yeah, me too.
Now, what's your vote? I have to count.
Abstain,
Abstain, okay. 2 abstains, 2 no,
Yeah.
no yes,
and
No yes.
who is yes? No yes?
no yes.
Okay, it's denied.
C, application 2024-7 of Newport Realty Group LLC for the construction of term.
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry.
Oh.
Roseanne, did you get the votes? That who voted? Okay, thank you.
C, application 2024-7 of Newport Realty Group LLC for the construction of Turnberry Estates on a 34-unit active adult community on 24.6 parcel of land located up Pondview Drive. We just need a motion to table.
motion to table 2024-7.
Second.
Any questions on the motion? Any discussion on the motion?
Mr. Chairman, I need a little kind of like direction that when I hire the third party to review this, what exactly should I ask him to look for?
Oh, and the water flow calculations, and the
I'm sorry?
storm runoff, the 100, the
To
storm.
to basically review the drainage calculations and the plans to see if they make any
The
recommendations. on it.
recharge of the wetlands.
The
if that's-
groundwater recharge and the
Right,
wetland recharge?
yeah.
Okay. Well, basically, what is the impact on this development on the wetlands?
Yeah,
Okay.
and the,
Paul, does the state
Flooding.
DOT get involved here at all, or no? We're adding to their drainage system, which is already over capacity?
Well, technically, they're not, Mr.
Okay.
Chairman. That's their, as Mr. Quirk said, they're reducing all the peak runoffs
Right.
from 2 to 100-year storms, so
All right,
that shouldn't be an issue.
all right. We had a second on the motion?
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. D, application 2024-8 of Meadow Crest LLC for the construction of a single-family home on lot 46 Meadow Crest Lane, Watertown, Connecticut.
Good evening. Scott Myers, professional engineer and land surveyor with Myers Associates PC. On behalf of the applicant, Meadowcrest LLC, and Mr. Moran is here to my left. We had a site walk earlier this evening. This is basically a plan for a single-family house on a very old lot. It's a non-conforming lot. What we've done is we've kept the proposed house as close to the road as possible. And the wetlands are way to the rear, as you saw tonight. And the rear of the house will be approximately 50 feet from the wetlands. But the entire lot is pretty much a regulated area due to this small size of it. But the house will be served by sewer and water. And pretty much the existing grades you saw tonight in that lawn area will be the final grades for the rear yard as well. So there's pretty much a minimal amount of disturbance. What you kind of saw is what you're going to kind of get, but you're going to have a new single-family house on the property once it's developed. And I can entertain any questions. I do have a
There's
do have a map here.
no outbuildings, swimming pools, or decks,
No,
correct?
there's actually no room for zoning, because it is a non-conforming lot. We are at the maximum percent coverage for building and for impervious.
Okay.
So the
So
driveway
they can't even add them?
No,
No.
the driveway will be paved. We've included a walk, but we've only included stairs to the rear, from the rear slider, because there's no room.
And that'll be recorded in the deed? That there's no swimming pool, no outbuildings, correct?
Not exactly sure how that would work, whether he can put a deed restriction in
Right.
or not.
I think-
If that's something you would require, then,
Right.
but for zoning purposes, you can't do it. It's impossible. We're at the maximum, so.
I'll draw a draft
so how do
motion.
we,
Any questions on this?
And there is one other thing that I want to mention. The zoning enforcement officer, I mean, we don't enforce the deed restrictions.
right,
That is up to the, if there is like an association or something, we don't
Right.
enforce
No.
deed restrictions.
right.
But they can be recorded on the,
If somebody in future come and if it is on the plan that they file, the Mylar,
Right.
if there is a condition that you want
Yes.
to put,
Yes.
that can be enforced through the wetland, but
Right.
not through the
So-
zoning.
No.
Yes.
Now, question, it really doesn't have to do with us because it's impervious, but if someone wants to come, they buy this house and want to put a patio in, there's no permit needed, so you just go put a patio in.
Yeah.
Now you're above your impervious. How does that? How does that happen? Or what happens?
Because
Who
they,
knows, but-
we don't
Right,
issue
I think
zoning
it's-
permit for
I think it's an
patio.
existing, it's an existing lot, and it's,
Yeah, but it doesn't
No,
matter.
but
You
we
can't
don't-
go above your impervious.
I know, but,
I can't pave my driveway.
and an existing lot might be, and nobody's gonna
Doesn't
check
matter.
that.
It's existing lot. But, right, no one checked, but that's exactly, but I
It's hard.
don't pave my driveway because I'm not supposed to. So, at any rate, so how are we going to delineate the wetlands here?
in the back.
The wetlands are delineated.
No, but how are we gonna show it, like, so that they're not in 3 weeks after the house is done, have that entirely made to lawn?
Okay.
Or we could put down that you will not be disturbed.
We can put the
Right, but
post,
How we,
a fence.
stone
Put it
wall,
like
We just did the
we just did the stone wall, that's, fences don't seem to
Oh, no.
work. They get taken down and never go
I think the
back.
little post that will work.
The posts don't work, they rot away in 5 years and now it's
We
gone.
did on the last application, they had to
We've been doing walls, but is,
I mean, if you did a wall in this particular, you're going to actually disturb more area.
right.
Yeah.
I mean, what we do a lot in Middlebury is we put in wetland posts with the placards.
right, in 5
So-
years when that's gone and that becomes lawn, the wetlands are gone with it.
Well, I just did a lot the other day. They've been there 20 years and
Right.
they're
Right,
still
no,
good. They're
but-
pressure treated, so.
But when we put up some kind of fence?
You gotta wait from fences, 'cause
Right, all right.
I will agree that pressure treated post, like Mr. Meyer says, it probably work.
In this case, I can see that
Doesn't
working.
matter.
Yeah.
It's a small lot.
In this case, I can see that working.
It's a very small area. We'd probably put 3 across. The lot's only 100 feet wide.
I'd like to make a motion then that application 2024-8 of Meadowcrest LLC for construction of single-family home, lot 46, Meadowcrest Lane, Watertown, Connecticut, be approved, subject to standard condition at posted to be located by the wetlands.
No, where you want the post to be? I mean, the limit of disturbance on this lot, like the limit of grading?
Well, it's a small lot as it is, I don't think you want to.
Scott,
I guess
where
that's
the
up-
post should be
Yeah, well, I
located?
guess it's up to the commission, right, where they
Yes.
would like them.
Can you give me like a number, like 20 feet from the edge of wetlands or 15 feet
I
from
would
the
think
edge of
20 feet
wetlands?
would be
Something.
reasonable.
I'm sorry?
You put
20 feet from the edge of the wetlands would probably be reasonable in this case.
Yeah, at least you
Yeah.
should give a number.
Okay,
Yes.
5 feet from the wetlands.
5 feet is not
20 said
enough.
20.
20
is reasonable.
What do you say,
20, we'll
20?
go with the engineer, 20.
Well,
But you don't have no room, the
we're
lot's
not
so
changing
small.
we're not changing any grades at all within 20, so that's why I figured.
Okay,
Okay.
20
Give
feet
us
from the
20.
edge of wetland, the post will be installed.
Yes, you want
Okay.
3 across? That'd be
Across.
adequate.
Yes.
Okay. That was the motion. Somebody seconded.
He did. Motion made and second. Any questions or discussion on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Application 2024-9 of Todd Robbins for the construction of a single-family home and on-site septic and drainage system, 165 Massive Road, Watertown.
Good evening. Turn this around. Are we all set? Okay, let's see. Third button. There we go. Good evening. For the record, Gary Giordano, engineer and land surveyor, representing the applicant Todd Robinson. Our application is for, I'm going to call it a replacement of an existing house with a new house and septic system. For those of you that were on the field walk tonight, I did say that I did contact the city of Waterbury,
Here we go.
a Mr. Chris Savage, and I'm going to hand you a copy of those emails. I contacted him once in person and sent him an email, a copy of the plan, and then he said he would look at it and comment back if he had any concerns, and that was April 26th. I haven't heard anything since then.
There's a proposed pole barn on it. There's no driveway down to it?
No, right now it's just a pole barn going back, and he'll just drive over the lawn to get back in through there. We all need storage for our stuff.
It just seemed like tonight we were there, the house could be shifted very easily to one side by what we saw on the site.
If we go to the east, we get quite a big drop-off on that side, and then we wouldn't be able to have any access to that barn in the back. It's kind of, we're hugging it that way.
So basically, whatever you staked out, that's the, because you don't have no room, that's the best place to put it.
That's kind of what we came up with the consensus when we were out there those times doing the surveying work.
So it was a lot of ledge.
Gary, the setback for the proposed barn, you showed 20 feet from the side property line?
I can't remember what's on the zoning table.
No, no,
It says 20
on the
here.
drawing.
Okay.
Do you have a copy?
I don't
of
have
the
a copy of the drawing.
Okay, for this size barn, it has to be minimum 25 feet and
Okay.
50 feet from rear property line.
All right.
That has to be moved 5 feet.
We could change that.
Okay.
And right now, that's a proposed thing, whether that's going to go in right off the bat. He's got to afford the house first, so. Just with Torrington or Health, you're better off to put all your approvals and stuff on there, let them sign off on it, you have to go back with another permit.
I don't know if, when construction's planned, but I think you should stabilize what's there with some hay bales or something. That's all running down into the wetlands now. There's quite a bit of runoff going down through there, quite a bit of areas disturbed. That should be silt fences or bales of hay or something.
Maybe you could put some silt fence at the lowest corner.
Well, if he gets a permit to get going, he can get that in right off the bat, so it's, we can kind of do a 2-for-1 deal here. There is some grass growing on what he has disturbed there. Have you been planting grass seed on that when you've been working on it? No? It's been coming up natural, so.
Yeah.
I move that application 2024-9 of Todd Robinson for construction of single-family house and associated on-site septic system, drainage system at 165 Bassett Road, Watertown, Connecticut, be approved, subject to standard conditions.
Second.
Motion made, second. Any questions or discussion on the motion?
Is there something that needs to be stated as far as the silt fence? And the 25-foot?
Yes.
No, the silt fence will be a part of the standard conditions.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what about delineation? These piles of rocks that you find, a rock wall. I don't know, how do we want to divide,
Right.
mark off the wetlands?
He's got plenty of rocks,
Plenty more coming, too.
so he can make a wall out of the rocks, you know? Down and back there.
Little stone
Just,
wall.
what we've been doing is just,
You want to do it along the edge of the wetlands, come in a few
rock
feet?
pile wall.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I call it.
The
A
normal,
farmer's wall,
A
not
bucket of
a,
rock, a bucket of rock.
Full length?
of the wetlands
Of
area,
the
which,
wetlands, yeah.
How far out from the wetlands are we on? I didn't see it, so again, I didn't go on either of these sidewalks.
Well, what's the
I think it-
minimum, 20 feet? 20
if
feet.
Gary might be correct there, it
Where-
might be the
where-
whole
where
back
does it
and the
make
side,
sense
or
to
where
put
is it,
North and west side?
or no?
well, we have that northwest corner, we have that little wetlands going across.
Yeah.
I think there's like there's 7 flags on this southeasterly side of it. If we come 5 or 10 feet off that wetlands and put like a stone wall,
Right.
and normal, what do we usually do, 30 inches tall or
Yeah.
30 inches wide?
And what about the north, or whatever you call it, I guess it's north? Is there wetlands there? No.
In between that, the southeasterly side of the wetlands and the stone wall, there's a little dry piece of land in through there.
Yeah.
So it's a little strip.
So I could add it there.
You
Yeah.
you can use existing rocks that you got.
We're going to have plenty of rocks
Yeah,
there.
and plenty of
Yeah.
rocks.
I don't know if I have a picture.
Okay, but that should be minimum 10 feet from the edge of wetlands?
It's your pleasure, whatever you'd like.
The commission should
I'm
decide
thinking
on that.
5 because we have that little bit of rain garden I have to put on one side, and I'm going to see.
Well, you were
pretty
pretty
close.
tight, that's what,
Yeah.
when I asked you that question today. I think 5 feet would be okay with me.
And you said you're adding the gutters and the,
Into that level spreader, correct.
Is 5 feet okay with everyone? But 5 feet is part of the motion.
is that okay?
That's what works there, yeah.
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 Okay, it was approved subject to standard conditions, plus a stone wall 10 feet
Yeah, 5 feet.
from the, 5 feet?
Yeah. You said
5.
5 feet.
5
because
feet
you
from
have
the
to
edge of wetlands?
Yeah.
Okay.
We have a picture of the type of wall that we're
Okay.
saying that from, we'll get it for you.
Similar to the ones that are there?
What?
Similar to the ones that are there?
They won't be rounded field stones,
Yeah.
that's for sure. They're going to be a little sharp
Basically
blasted
built
rock.
with a backhoe, front bucket.
I'll make it look pretty. All right.
Are
You're gonna make it
you
look
voted
better,
on this?
but
Yeah, we haven't voted yet.
We haven't
Okay.
voted.
We didn't
The
vote yet,
motion's
we're
still on the
waiting.
table.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was discussing the stone wall design. We're good? No other questions or comments?
I'm good.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening.
8, new application. A, application 2024-11 of CNS Masonry and Paving for construction of a 10,000 square foot and 2,500 square foot industrial buildings, associated parking, driveway, and stormwater controls at 1490 Echo Lake Road, Watertown.
Good evening. How's everybody? Hi. For the record, Emily Jones, professional engineer with Civil One in Woodbury. I'm representing the applicant CNS Masonry and Paving for their property at 1490 Echo Lake Road. So I'm not going to take up a ton of your time tonight. I know it's late and you guys have talked a lot, and we're sort of just beginning this process. But I will give a brief overview of the project, and then we can go from there. Let's see, do I have, there we go. So the project site's located at 1490 Echo Lake Road near Route 8 in the general industrial IG-80 zone, and it's about 12 acres, 11.9 acres. Right now, there's an existing house. It's actually hard to see on this plan.
Can
but there's
you use that monitor? Because
Oh, yeah, sure, yeah.
Thank you.
Existing house and a garage on the site, and the driveway comes in this area here. There is sort of a swath of wetlands that comes down the hill. There's an existing 30-inch CMP culvert, and then another little wetlands as it passes through. So the driveway goes over the culvert now. There's no floodplain on the site, hooray. And the proposal for the property will utilize the same curb cut that they currently have, but it will be accessed for an industrial development rather than the existing single-family house that's there now. It's in an industrial park area. It's sort of between a salvage yard and, I don't know what's on the other side. Stony Brook, yeah. And some landscaping places around it, stuff like that. So it's right in that industrial.
The old Frostbridge junkyard,
Yeah.
right? The old, not Cures, the
Yeah,
Frostbridge
Peter
junkyard.
Cures is right
Yeah.
up top.
Right.
And then
Yep.
Stony Brook
It used to be
is-
Frostbridge junkyard, okay.
Yeah.
Pellis. I think Pellis.
So they're going to demo the house and the garage and put two buildings on the site. This is a 10,000 square foot building, which will be used as a workshop for the paving and masonry business. And then this is a 2,500 square foot masonry supply store. So each one has outdoor storage behind the workshop is for vehicles, you know, that go out to do the work of the masonry and paving business. And then the masonry supply store obviously needs to store stone and things like that in the back of their site. There's limited parking in the back of the supply store as well. And then there's a flat area here for additional storage. So it is on quite a hillside, so there's quite a bit of cut in the back. We're probably going to definitely going to encounter some rock excavation. So we'll have someone like a Down to Earth Consulting or Ray Gennaro on board to prepare a blasting plan for that. It is served by public water and sewer, which is nice. And then there is regulated activity, obviously. There's no direct wetland activity. I don't know if this is the first application in with 150-foot setback, but that's what we're showing on the site. So due to the additional impervious area, we do have a pretty robust stormwater system in place that has a lot of checks and balances. It's treatment trained, there's pre-treatment, primary treatment and infiltration, then even after discharge of that, there's additional an infiltration basin going through that. I'll go through, I know you guys are probably gonna wanna take a look at the site and ask some questions, so happy to answer any questions that you may have tonight. I can go into more detail of the stormwater, but I can also save it for another night.
we'll save it for another night. We're probably gonna take a look. But like you said, there is water and sewer, and you're gonna connect into the
Yeah.
storm sewer too?
No, the discharge point for the
Yeah.
2 underground basins.
Right.
There's an additional infiltration basin here that those 2 go into, and then that spills over into the wetland area. And then based upon our calculation of the drainage area for the site,
Yeah.
and probably increased precipitation since this was built.
Correct,
That
yeah.
30-inch CMP should be upgraded to a 36-inch pipe. So there's a good amount of water that comes through there.
Right, and obviously he's in the paving business, so I assume he's gonna pave around that building where the equipment's stored?
Yes.
Is there separators or
Yes.
oil separators
We are
in
going to
it?
have, the stormwater gets collected, the catch basins have deep sumps, hooded outlets for floatable. Then prior to each underground detention system, there is a hydrodynamic separator that's designed for the water quality flow per the new updated DEP regulations. And then the site's actually infill in this area, and the soils are great for infiltration. So those are open bottom subsurface chambers. They can infiltrate stormwater in smaller storms, and then they store and detain stormwater in larger storms through a controlled outlet to reduce the rates of runoff. We've talked about that a lot. And then those discharge to an engineered outlet protection in that infiltration basin, which allows further filtration, further cooling, further infiltration. And then there's a riprap sort of overflow spillway when it finally discharges into the wetland area. So there's a lot of steps of treatment before that point. Yeah.
You don't have to worry about cutting the trees down, somebody already did, right? Before
it's
you
pretty
guys, right?
open. Yeah.
They clear cut it, right?
Yeah, it's pretty open.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask that. Emily, what the southeast side, that corridor in between the 2 buildings, right, yeah,
Here?
what's in that area?
So
What's the
that's,
proposal there?
I mean, maybe you can explain what you're planning to do with this area, but it's just gonna be, it may be gravel.
Just extra storage, just a
Yeah.
gravel area for now. We have the area, so might as well just clear it out. If we need extra room for equipment, to park equipment, we could always park it there.
So,
But
yeah, there's,
for storing vehicles and equipments, gravel is not a good idea.
yeah, so if there's gonna be vehicles parked there, we'll have to pave it.
Yeah, we are
Our
gonna pave it.
calculations show it as impervious either way, so,
They show that as being impervious either way?
yes.
Isn't there
No,
something?
I'm impervious under proposed conditions.
Okay,
I count gravel as impervious
Okay.
when I do my calculations,
Yeah.
because even though you can pretend at the beginning it's not, once you drive over it for a year, it is.
just hypothetically, why not move the building out of the review area, just to make it that much easier?
Right, so, we can shift the building back. Each little bit that we push it back will increase the height of that wall face, that rock face that's gonna happen in the rear of the area. And I do want the front of that parking area in some fill, because I like the idea of the infiltration for the stormwater. So we can take a look at that. We also were working on the plans when it was still a 100-foot setback, and then had to update them and quickly update it. So we haven't looked at necessarily shifting it back a little bit and what that would do to the earthwork calculations. Right now, it's fairly balanced, which was another goal, between cuts and fills, but we can take that back to the office if that's a question. And we can also, if the commission wants to take a look, we'll stake out all that stuff.
My other thoughts are, well, so you already said that you calculated that as being impervious, but correct me if I'm wrong, maybe Moosey can help me out with this. Isn't there some sort of condition that side of town in the industrial park that is no outdoor storage of equipment? Wasn't that something that got hung up with the Grillo project or?
Yes.
What is the zone? Is this
IG,
RG80, right? RG80.
I have to look at that, yes.
IG.
Okay.
IG,
IG-80 or?
IG80, yeah. General industrial, not light industrial.
Because, I mean, if you're saying outdoor parking or something like that, does it have to be covered at that point? But if your calculation's already.
Yeah, that wouldn't change any sort of drainage calculations. I guess you just have to collect that.
I'm not sure on that. That was just hypothetical.
Yeah,
It's
I'll
just
have to
something
go
think
back and
about.
take a look myself.
Any other questions? We'll do the site walk before the next meeting,
Good idea.
which will be, what's the date?
June.
13th, I think.
Your meeting is on June 13, and the Saturday before that is 8. You want to go on Saturday or before the meeting?
Before the
Before the meeting. There is another application that I want you to go and see, the addendum. That's also something that I want you to go and see both of them. They're in the same area. You can do it before the meeting if you
All
want.
right, till 5 o'clock?
Yes.
Some people
Better
get
than
to learn.
Saturday.
Mr. Chairman, can I bring up one thing before
Yes,
you
sir.
go on with this? I want to talk to Emily that this paper street that's, shown on the site, northeast, two boundary lines, the town would be in favor of being abandoned. It's never going to go anywhere. The Route 8 is to the east of this, and also the driveway's in violation of the setback at one point, the 10 feet. They're also showing work and grading in this paper street, so we'd really like to have it abandoned, so they get their 20, I forget if it's 40 or 50 feet wide, so they either get their 20 or 25 feet, and Stony Brook Construction gets,
I think it's 40.
it's 40, so 20 to each to Stony Brook and to them. It would certainly help the situation, so something where the town, Public Works is in favor of this.
Right.
I also spoke with the town attorney about this. He's in
Okay.
favor of it too,
Right.
so.
So that's not before us, correct?
No, but I mean, it does
Yeah.
affect, like I said,
Right.
there's grading and the
Yeah.
pipe construction in this paper street, so.
Yeah,
It's technically not theirs, so,
Right.
right. And the existing culvert is in that area.
Right, no, I
Yeah.
understand that, yeah. So. Just to get, so Civil One could get the ball rolling on
Yeah.
what they have to do, so.
Any other questions? Table.
All right, move to table application 2024-11 for the site walk.
All right.
Hold the site walk at 5 o'clock?
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock on
June
June
13th.
13th.
Perfect.
Motion made and second. Any question or discussion on the motion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. Thank you.
All right, thanks. We'll see you then. We'll stick it all out.
And then can you read the new application in there?
Yeah. Just put it away. The new application is 8B, application 2024-12 of Borghese Building and Engineering Company Incorporated for construction of an industrial building and associated driveway, parking, and on-site drainage system at 0 Seymour Road, Watertown, Connecticut. Public. Let's read that part. In public hearing.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Turn the mic up.
Good evening. Rich Hall, Borghese Building and Engineering, 2155 East Main Street, Torrington, applicant on behalf of Foreign Plastics and H&T Realty for the parcel up there at 0 Seymour, 0 Park Road. Right now, there was some discrepancy as to what the actual address was. So, forgive me, I need to learn to use this. What do I need? We got a file somewhere I can get? Okay. Actually, if we could bring up, if I could indulge you for just a second, I have a set of renderings for the building. I'll just spend 90 seconds on it, kind of like to give people an idea what it is that we're up to, what we'd like to build.
Which one is it?
Rendering?
We don't have a map, do we? No. There's no map or nothing, right? No, I don't have any.
And pardon me, Mark Klinsky, President, Foreign Plastics.
So,
Okay, there we go. What we're asking for is we're seeking approval to work in a regulated area, specifically the upland review area. There's not going to be any disturbance to the wetlands themselves, but the purpose of the ask is to facilitate the construction of a 80,000 square foot manufacturing facility. And I don't know how to move forward on this thing. So.
He's got to move it.
He's going to move it.
Okay, next slide, please. So that's our front entryway there. And we can just roll through these quick because this is pretty much just to give them an idea what it looks like. You see some parking and some landscaping around the building. We can just keep right on rolling. That's basically looking down the front of the building. There's some parking and drives out in front of it. Keep going. A little perspective from the back corner of the building gives you an idea of the size. The building is 250 feet wide by 320 feet long. It's got a 28-foot or so roof, eave height up to a little over 32 feet, I believe, at the peak. We keep rolling. As we look at it, there's about 150 parking spaces on this lot, 152, I believe, with the ADA parking. That's the end of the building, the employee entrance and the main entrance there on the right. We can just keep going. Front of the building that you'll see as you approach the building, coming up off of Seymour Road through the existing cul-de-sac. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Seymour Road, but there's a cul-de-sac at the end. There's Sola Islet is to the right, the old Ilomatic is to the left. And basically, we're going to be coming right off the back of that cul-de-sac with the driveway that accesses this. Really, it's an interior lot. We can keep going. Boring end of the building, the other end of the building. Yep. Let me just roll right through here. I don't want to waste your guys' time. I know it's late. Shipping docks on the back side of the building, 6 docks across the back, and some additional parking. And all the way to the left there's going to be 2 80-ton chillers out on a concrete pad for processed water. So what does Form do? They're an injection molding company. They run a really nice, clean operation from an environmental point of view. It's pretty benign. There's no air permitting, no water discharge. Very, very nice, clean operation. Most of what they do is medical. Am I correct in that one?
Yes.
Okay. And that is just a topographical view of basically what the site looks like. You're going to recognize that in just a minute when we pull up the site map. So we can kill that one and bring up the maps if you like. So I'm going to beg your forgiveness in the kind of crude nature of our maps right now. We took the best available information that we had, which unfortunately right now is a survey from 1995, I believe. That being said, we have a surveyor out on the lot this week. What I'm going to show you is a conceptual plan, what we would like to do. We have, as I say, a surveyor out there this week doing a A2T2 survey. We will provide the commission a fully engineered site plan in a very short period of time. One of the reasons that we're here with the conceptual plan, or basically the main reason that we're here with the conceptual plan, is that Forum are under very tight time constraints. They need to move out of where they are. They'd like to come to Watertown. And we estimate this project to take about 16 months to build, and they need to have a place to be at the end of October of next year. So we're getting pretty much up against it, and we just wanted to get this moving. In the event, and before I forget to mention it, so the real purpose here tonight is if you guys would like to go out and see the site, I'd like to ask that we schedule a site visit prior to the next meeting, because you will in fact have everything you need on the next meeting to make a decision, I believe.
Right, we're going to schedule for the night, that night of the meeting. We're there a half hour before.
Yeah, you'll go out and visit before the meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
And you'll
All
have
right.
the site all marked, staked and all.
Yeah, it's going to be all the wetlands will be delineated. We'll have the corners of the building marked.
Right.
We'll have the corners of property marked, and it'll be very clear to you when you're out there what's going on. So just real quick, this is an 80 scale map, so it's pretty small. I just wanted to give you an idea of here's the boundaries of the site. Okay, it was 2 sites originally, This is Seymour Road right here, and there used to be, or there was proposed a cul-de-sac that was going to go about in this area, and this previously was 2 building sites. It's been joined into 1 building site, and you can see that what we're proposing fits quite nicely here. Just a couple things that you would want to take note of, because we're going to talk a little bit about what we've done to try and minimize any, any encroachment on upland review area, is we do have this utility easement, a 400-foot utility easement, under which we really can't put a building. We're very limited in what we can do there. And unfortunately, the grades, our objective is, of course, to work with the existing grades as much as possible in the topography and the existing water flow. Where's it going right now? And those grades lend themselves best to flowing stormwater towards the wetland and not to the opposite end of the site. So with that, we can go to the next slide. There should be another map there somewhere. We should have another map in there. Let me see that. Go up on that one. There we go. We just need to get that centered up on the screen. Can you go up and use the rotation button up there to turn that counterclockwise, 90 degrees? That'd be great. Okay, excellent. So this is a 40 scale version of what you just saw. Zoomed in a little bit. Here's Sola Islet. Isle-O-Matic would be down over here. The cul-de-sac that you previously saw would be right here. So what we intend to do, or what we'd like to do, what we're requesting, is that we'll bring the driveway up off of the existing road as was proposed, to bring it out to a cul-de-sac, and just fade that right into our parking area, around to the back of the building, to our loading area, so on and so forth. Just for, and I think you guys probably know where this is, but Veterans Memorial Park borders on the back. It is a residential zone, so we have a 100-foot setback that we have to respect. And we have some grades here that we're going to have to deal with a bit. So we've left enough distance off of that setback so that we can achieve the grades without having to gouge into that setback. So basically, there's a pretty extensive drainage plan that will be put together here. I can explain our conceptual plan. This was Alan Borghese and I at 7:30 at night the other night put this thing together. We're going to have, obviously, roof drainage system, leaders from both sides. There will be some parking lot drains, or you can see that there's a catch basin here. And we have a couple of yard drains as well to grab some of anything that's coming down off of this slope. The drainage system is fairly, it is limited to from this point to the left on the site. And the grades, lend themselves best to flowing this down towards the wetlands. Now this pond, and I don't want to hold you guys up by suffering you through me going through my application to get all the square footages and whatnot. The pond, I think we needed something like 32,000 square feet. I think this thing is like 60,000 square feet right now. So we can probably choke down the pond a little bit. But basically what we're going to do is gather up all the water, send it into this detention pond, one discharge from the roof leaders, one discharge from the rear roof leaders, the yard drains, the catch basin, into the other end of the pond. Now we're showing a water quality unit here. That is in fact an oversight mistake. That water quality unit is going to go up here where the drainage comes off the parking lot. It shouldn't be needed on this here because this is just roof drains and we're not picking up anything off the parking lot. What we've tried to do here is employ some best practice. You notice that there's not a lot of catch basins in the parking lot. The building elevation is sitting at 842. The edge of the parking lot, and I'm just working from memory here because I can't see the numbers up there. I want to say the edge of the parking lot's about 38. So we're going to sheet flow most of this water off the parking lot. And we have a riprap / filter strip here, and then we're simply flowing it right downhill, right into the detention basin. So we're optimizing the opportunity to get surface infiltration as it comes off of the parking lot. Same thing out here in the front. We're sloping the parking lot. Again, you'll notice there are no catch basins there. There's a filter strip here, riprap area, same thing. We flow it into this much smaller detention basin here, and that too discharges out to the wetlands. As I'm talking here, I'm saying, okay, it may be appropriate and to have both a water quality unit both here and there. Again, and I state this in the application, more detail to be provided with the fully engineered plan. We realize that this is not a fully engineered plan right now. We just wanted to get it in front of you guys and request that you schedule a site visit.
We're going to be there on that.
So
Yeah.
this, I did the site work on the existing building on this,
Which ones?
the one out front on Seymour Road.
Oh, on which, Sola?
Yes.
Okay.
So when was this wetland marked and it?
Some time ago, like I said, it's
Right,
the best thing, this is the most recent information we have is 1995
I mean,
is
we
the
were-
latest date I find on there.
We were basically working in the swamp
Yeah.
when this got done.
Well, I've personally gone out and walked
So
the
it's,
site.
I mean, it was very wet, and I know
Mhm.
that this building, I seem to recall that this building, when it was put in, was right at the edge of the wetland, so I'm wondering if there's something missing off of this map.
Well, we're certainly going to find out because there's going to be soil scientists out there next week delineating all the wetlands.
Right, so-
And if we do find something out and it's bad news, then obviously we're going to have to do something different. But
Right.
I did go out and walk the site, and it looks like, and you're familiar with the topography out there, where that, at the end of that cul-de-sac, if you walk straight off into the woods, and I walked a good depth back into the woods, there is a change in elevation right there. There's like an old stone wall or something. It looks like that they planned to put the road on the higher elevation back to the cul-de-sac. And I've in fact identified, actually seen what appears to be wetlands, saw the vegetation, the species and whatnot, and it actually looks pretty close to what's on the map right now.
I just remember doing the work around this building, which it is a decent distance apart.
Yeah.
So, but it just seemed like we were right close to wetlands, and I hope you don't find wetlands in the middle of where you're proposing the building.
Yeah, I hope not either, but hope's not a course of action, so we're sending a scientist out there
Right.
to delineate it, right?
I know the soil it was so bad, the grass came up perfectly, it was the best grass that ever came up. It came up all perfectly even.
Nice.
It got to like 1.5 inches, 2 inches tall, and it turned orange. The whole entire place turned orange.
Yeah, yeah.
Because the topsoil was like, I took soil samples, obviously, and sent them out, and the soil was like the bottom of a swamp.
Yeah.
That's what the topsoil was like.
Yeah.
So it was tough.
Yeah, there's
You gotta
no,
straighten out, but-
there is no question that that there are some wetlands there. Like I say, they seemed to correspond, because I had map in hand when I went out there and I walked it.
Right.
And they seemed to make sense relative to what's marked there. Now, obviously, 1995 data is not something that we can work with.
Right.
Again, we wanted to get the process moving here. We're fully committed to, you'll have a fully engineered, well, the first thing we're going to do is get that soil scientist report in our hand, because we can't engineer a site plan without it,
No,
right?
So we don't know now if it's significant activity or not, correct?
Well, so let me explain what may or may not make this a significant activity for you. So you notice this line right here, this is the wetlands, okay? And I have this in the explanations in the application. So this distance from the edge of wetland to the edge of that road is about 100 feet. This distance from edge of wetland to edge of parking is about 200 feet. Closest distance from edge of wetland to building, 270 feet. So there's about, I want to say it's like 8,500 square feet is what I calculated it to be of pavement that will be in your 150-foot upland review area. And certainly this line here that you see here, this is the old wetlands delineation or upland review delineation line, which I believe was 60 feet. That's what it scales to on the map. So you got to double that plus, and you got your 150-foot line. So we're asking, this is the ask, that we be able to locate our detention basins in the upland review area and discharge to the wetlands.
But that's all subject on
Where the
soil
wetlands are.
scientists.
Right.
Yeah,
we have-
exactly.
You don't have maps on that yet.
Yeah. we're making some assumptions right now.
Right.
We're believing that this is
Yeah.
pretty accurate and obviously subject to verification by the soil scientist.
But should you schedule a public hearing that, so it
Right,
doesn't slow it
right.
down?
That'll keep things moving if we might as well do a public hearing.
And it'll keep it
Then if
moving.
it's significant activity or not, you already have the public hearing.
Right, so you don't get
Yeah.
held up.
Yeah, and really,
Schedule it now. and-
yeah, aside from the ask in terms of the property,
Right.
the ask is that we schedule whatever events we
Right.
might need to get taken
Yeah.
care
I
of,
think
because
we
we
should do that.
really need to move this
We're
thing
ahead of the game.
forward.
Any questions, Bruce, have any questions, or Paul?
Mr. Chairman, we are waiting for the
Right.
a detailed plan and also
Yeah.
the soil scientist.
You'll have an engineered site plan, I'm going to say, and I was thinking about this, what would I request of you folks? I think, well, and you've said the site walk would be just immediately prior to the meeting. That's perfect, because you'll
Right.
definitely have all the information by then. I'm thinking 2 to 3 weeks. 2 weeks is going to be a press. I think 3 weeks, we can have an engineered
Right.
site plan in your hands. We can certainly have
Right,
that.
so if it's in our packet, let's get mailed out on a Friday before, so it'd have to be
The next,
there on a Wednesday or something.
yeah,
Thursday.
your next meeting is on the 13th, so
Yeah, so it'd have to
7
be there
days
by
prior. Yeah,
the 10th or something.
it's the 6th, I
Yeah,
think.
if you bring all the information the week before the meeting,
Yeah.
then we can send it in the
Right.
packet to the
I
commission.
don't think there's going to be any issue with that.
So you're the contractor for the corner of Echo Lake and Buckingham?
Yes, we are.
I field several calls on the site work there.
Really?
So hopefully this site, the housekeeping will be done different than that one.
Okay,
There was a lot, and, I know there's issues there now, but that site was, every time I went by there, somebody called me, there was something going in the retention pond.
yeah.
You did a site out on Bunker Hill in there.
Mhm.
It's apples and oranges.
Okay.
That site was all seeded, done. This one was,
Are you talking about Trinity, or the
Yeah.
Trinity Health? Yeah.
that site was totally handled different.
Mhm.
There was no complaints. Everything was put in place.
Was a different site contractor, no excuse. but we-
Okay, so hire that one.
Yeah, so
Hire that
we take that kind of thing very seriously.
Yeah.
I sit with Alan Borghese on a daily basis,
Yeah.
and I will certainly mention it to him first thing tomorrow, and whatever the issue is, it will be corrected.
All right.
Is this a sale contingent on approval here, or does the contract, or does the applicant already own the property?
No, it is contingent upon approval.
Is that 13?
So, in the interest of complete transparency, I mean, they're looking at several sites. They really like Watertown. We wouldn't be pursuing it if they didn't want to be here. Here's my little sales pitch. I just think it would be a great,
Right.
great project for the community.
Yeah.
I personally made a living up there. I managed Henlopen Manufacturing. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it was lots of years ago, 25-plus years ago. And I was familiar with the Ilomatic fellows and whatnot, and that used to be a really vibrant area where Winchester Electronics, where people made livings and paid for Barbie dolls for their little girls under the Christmas tree and that kind of stuff, and it's really fallen off of late, and I see it as a way to revitalize the area, really. It's, you're going to have 150-plus employees up there.
Where are you now?
I'm sorry?
Where are they located now?
Waterbury? We're in,
You're on.
I'm on? Okay. We're on, in 105 Progress Lane in Waterbury.
Up on that hill there?
Exit 25A, yeah, where Bridgeport University is, yeah, up there.
You got Texas Roadhouse there.
Yes, that's a roadhouse there too.
Yeah, well, you guys are supposed to tell them about all the restaurants that you have right down there, like the Uncommon Grill and all
Yeah.
that, because that's one of their concerns, is where are they going to entertain their
Everyone says
customers?
we're awaiting an Old Town Fresh around the corner, but I don't know. I don't know.
Mr. Chairman, there is a letter from the Economic Development Coordinator in support of this project, and I just passed a copy to everybody, if you want to read it, and
You want to read this?
please.
All right, from Economic Development, May 8th, 2024, Mr. Musa Rafi, Watertown Planning and Zoning Department, 61 Echo Lake Road, Watertown, Connecticut, 96795. guess we moved to some other country. Dear Musa, I wrote to you in my capacity as Economic Development Coordinator for the Town of Watertown concerning application 2024-12 of Borghese Building and Engineering for construction of an industrial building and associated driveway parking and on-site drainage system at 0 Seymour Road in Watertown. This project will substantially enhance the grand list of the Town of Watertown with its real property taxes. It will be an attractive addition to our current business park and will bring a substantial number of employees to help the Watertown economy. At its last meeting in April 2024, the Watertown Economic Development Commission authorized the Town Council and the Town Manager to negotiate a possible tax incentive program with the proposed owners of the property if they decide to build in Watertown. I heartily endorse your careful consideration and approval of this application as soon as possible. Sincerely, Joseph Seacrest, excuse me, Economic Development Coordinator of the Town of Watertown, Connecticut, and copied to Economic Development Commission, Mark Ringel, Town Manager, and Mark Massad, Planning and Development.
So we got to make a motion to schedule a site walk and a public hearing.
Yes.
All right, I make a motion that we schedule a site walk for June 13th. Is that correct?
5:30.
June 13th, 5:30 for application 2024-12 Borghese Building.
Motion made and second. Any
And
questions?
table the application, correct?
And also a motion to hold a public hearing.
And a motion to hold the public hearing at the next meeting.
Still second. Any questions on the motion? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstention? What
Thank
was
you
the
much.
owner's name of Island Marshall? What was the last name?
Oh, it was Seymour. No.
No. He lived in
Henry
town.
Seebach,
I
yeah.
couldn't remember his name. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. I was
Yeah.
trying to think of his name.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember, let me
Yeah.
think. If you didn't ask me, I'd know. Seymour Road. I
Next
think it was
time.
Seebach, yeah. We were friendly competitors up there. A lot of business went down Park Road in the cosmetic packaging world. Not so much anymore, though. Be a nice way to,
Let's look at True Love and Clean, it does a lot with the,
what's that?
you know, True Love and Clean got a big building there, they do the,
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice to see the Henlopen building occupied with Landjet.
yeah.
And,
All right, you guys are all set, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Have a good evening. Oh, I lost my agenda. 9, old business, none, new business, 10, new business, none, 11, communications and bill. A, Department of Public Works Detention Basin and Cleaning Program. Paul, do you have a short comment on that, or?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we put out to bid a project to clean, well, it ended up being 10 of our detention basins around town. It was complete, got the low bid, still a fair sum, around $300,000. And this is to clean and just maintain, get access to these 10 detention bonds that haven't been, some of them haven't been seen since they've been put in. And something going forward, they're going to have, some of them will need cleaning in the basin itself, debris, sediment. And we'll keep you apprised of when this is going forward. I'm not sure when it's going to start or if we even have all the money for this, as it came in fairly hefty.
Are they doing the cleaning or just the clearing of the trees?
Combination of both,
Both.
yeah. Some of them don't need basin bottom, they're pretty clean, but all of them need clearing, cutting trees and that, and also we're going to put in stone access driveways for future maintenance. It's a fair project, fair-sized project.
And then the private ones, who's in charge of sending them letters?
That's, land use has been sending letters, I know,
Yeah.
and
Not me.
I didn't say you, I said land, you're part of land use, but.
Also, somebody is sending letters and some type of
Right,
follow-up?
yeah, it
or-
does, the zoning officer, yeah. So.
Anybody else have any questions on this? B, town engineers memorandum regarding elimination of cul-de-sac islands on permanent dead-end town roads.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this is an item that Mr. Lukowski, the Public Works Director, and Bob Grandpré, the Highway Superintendent, wanted me to bring to the Commission's attention. We've already went to Public Works, Planning and Zoning with this, and they've accepted it and set the review for next month on their agenda. These islands in the center of cul-de-sacs are just a pain for maintenance, and the town, Highway doesn't have the apparatus to mow or maintain these islands. Most of the townspeople or the owners around these cul-de-sacs end up maintaining them. There's also a serious issue with plowing. There's nowhere to put the snow because they're just running around the circle with the plow. Usually you want to try to push it off the edge somewhere. And
It gives you more place to put the snow because it gives you the cul-de-sac to put the snow on.
Well, yeah, but a lot of them are graded above the grade of the road. You've seen some of the old ones, they're,
I know it's difficult to push the lever to raise the
Yeah.
plow, but
right, I know, but
that's too difficult.
the other thing is, going back to the previous fire marshal, Mr. Black's requirement, which my previous private life, had to design the cul-de-sacs on Summit Ridge and Loop Road. He wanted a 54-foot outside radius on the pavement and a 25-foot inside, so a 29-foot paved circle, that just to make for the ladder truck to just be able to swing around there. Ms. Calabrese, the present fire marshal, said she's willing to go back to the stated, as it still is in the subdivision regulations, of 45-foot paved, completely paved cul-de-sac radius, meaning a 90-foot diameter. And if you work out the pavement, it actually is less pavement. It's like 157 square feet less with that fully paved 90-foot diameter cul-de-sac. So it actually decreases the pavement. I realize the center islands were supposed to be used as water quality and runoff treatment. It's just, they're a maintenance nightmare, and the highway just doesn't have the facilities or certainly the manpower. They only have 21 people versus the 32 they had 30 years ago, to do all their summer maintenance. And so this is just something we wanted to, I don't even know if it's the commission has direct, it's something that really has to go into the subdivision regs, but I did want to run it by the commission for your comment at least and questions about it.
No, this is just for your information.
Correct.
Personally, I like those islands in
Yeah.
the middle, but
I
this
do
is,
too, but-
because this is a requirement by subdivision regulations, we leave this to the Planning and Zoning Commission to decide on it.
Yeah.
Does this apply to the new subdivision or even existing one?
Well, it would apply, we'd like it to apply to like the Munson Estates that just got approved. That would have to be revised, but that's still to be determined. I don't know. We wouldn't go back.
I kind of like that, but whatever.
Right.
No,
It wouldn't be retrofitting all the
the
existing.
cul-de-sac for Munson Estate is outside of the regulated area anyway.
Right.
Right.
But if the Planning and Zoning Commission decide to pave that area, it's up to them.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so no, we're not.
No, we are done with it. yes.
So just need a motion to table or file A and B?
Accept and
I
file.
vote no.
Yes.
Make a motion to file A and B?
Second. Motion made second. Any questions or discussion on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed and abstentions? Thank you. 12, reports from officers and committee. Chairman's report. I noticed on 0 Northfield Road, Musa, I know he came and withdrew the application, so now we're at 150-foot setback, correct? There's quite
Yes.
a bit of excavation up by the road. There's piles down and back. I don't know if how the wetlands just evaporated, but if we're at 50 feet more, I don't know if you've been by there, but there's a lot of activity.
Is this,
There's power lines buried down to the barn, which were right through the wetlands. I don't understand what's going on there, but I think you should go out and report back to the
I
commission.
don't
that-
understand how it got removed.
Yeah. How they remove
which,
the,
one? The one that, the house that
No.
was built?
The barn was existing. The barn's existing.
Yeah.
Yes.
They came to us to
Yes.
build the house and the septic system was in the
Yes,
review area or
they
whatever.
removed
in the
that and
house.
they changed their plans and moved the septic system outside of the regulated area. Yeah,
The old,
At the 100-foot.
Yes.
Not at
The
the
old-
150 now, though.
yeah, but at that time, they
At that time.
submitted application to the zoning office, no?
Okay.
And then they removed it.
All right, now, I have a problem.
And also, they got a farm exempt.
That's crap, though, that's not right.
They went to the estate and got it. I don't know how they got
Yeah,
it.
but you
Yes.
have to, you don't include the area required for your house.
Yeah.
There's two different things
Yes,
that
I
we're
think,
talking about.
I can
Mr.
speak
Judd
to
was
that
in
a
my
little bit.
office and he-
I did follow up with the state on that one.
Yeah.
He has a tax exempt certificate. He doesn't have a licensed farm. He was able to get a tax exempt certificate. It's heavily monitored by the state for 2 years, and then it kind of goes away. You still have to prove income off of it. He has to prove income off of a farm in order to keep that regulation. But the town can supersede that because he has over 5 acres. But the area of the house should not be included in the 5 acres. But the town, the only thing as far as the state goes is the tax exempt certificate.
Okay.
All it is means he doesn't
That's-
have to pay taxes on
Right.
stuff he uses for his property.
So 5 acres is our
The town requirement.
entire town requirement.
Yes.
But it's not supposed to be 5 acres total, it's 5 acres of usable farmland.
I think that is 6 point something acres.
No, but
That-
there's
know.
other
Yes.
places that are 5 acres.
Yeah,
You're still supposed to remove the acre or 2 acres or whatever that the house is required, because that's not farming. It's not forestry, it's not any of that.
Yeah.
So that's wrong. But the other thing I have an issue with is the house, there's a few issues with the house on Litchfield Road that got torn down. It's in the wetlands. Why is
Almost,
that not in
yes.
front of us?
what happened, they came to the office for a zoning permit to replace the existing house, and we issued a zoning permit, honestly. We probably missed on that.
I mean, if they were going to tear down the house and rebuild on that foundation, then that's different. But they dug up the whole entire place.
Yeah, when they came to the office, it is an existing non-conforming building, it was.
Right, yeah.
And then, for as long as they build on that same location, they have the right to do that. But they wanted to reduce the non-conformity. They pushed the house back. Actually, that's an improvement from the zoning perspective.
But they pushed
But
it closer to the
unfortunately, yes,
wetland.
it got closer to the wetland. We didn't notice that, yes.
I don't think there's any silt
Shouldn't-
fence or anything up.
There is
I've
silt
seen the
fence.
silt
Yeah,
fence.
Yeah, there is silt fence.
There wasn't. so
Yeah,
far.
there is
No,
a
what-
silt fence there, and fortunately, there is nothing going into the wetlands.
Well, we can stop the deck and the pool and all that, correct?
Yeah, there is no room for that.
But it's not on the plans, since we've never
I
seen
certainly
it.
never reviewed any plan,
Huh?
Mr., I never saw any plan,
No,
Mr. Chair.
I just, it amazes me what goes on when I drive around, but there's no enforcement, so.
And then there's, what was the other thing? Oh, so Munson Road, we kind of closed it quicker than I wanted to. I had a couple things to say there. But there is, and I know people are going to the planning and zoning, so it's really not us. Part of those lots are in this R70. Part of them are in R90. It's not shown that way on our maps.
But that's not an issue for us.
No, but it would change the layout.
The setbacks will be the same, because for zoning, the setbacks for R70 and R90 are the same. The zoning
Not if they
setbacks.
have to make the property have a bigger lot.
Yeah, it has to be
So then
90.
Yes, so that's what I'm saying, is that if now that you had 6 lots, and they took up 70,000 square feet, and now you have to have these lots have 90,000 square feet, you have to gain that room somewhere. So that means we have to take away somewhere else.
Yeah.
Where's that gonna happen?
When they go to P&Z, they can deny that.
Right, that was my,
Yeah, but that's not for us.
I know it's not for us.
But that was never brought up,
Right.
not to us.
I just
but-
noticed.
Right, oh, okay. Yeah,
We didn't have those maps, that they weren't on our maps. I found a different map, looking at something else. And shouldn't that be, so that's all one piece of land
Yes,
currently?
yes.
It's not a 6-lot subdivision, it's a 7-lot subdivision. Because that other, even though that other one is no longer, they took it out of our application.
they took it out.
They took it out because they say it has no wetland impact, that's fine, whatever. But it's still a 7th lot.
No, but
It's
they
still-
said that they're not going to build anything
But
at
it's still a
this time.
seven, you're
Yes.
still dividing that piece into 7 pieces, right?
That's
It really doesn't have nothing to do with
Yeah,
us.
that's a zoning issue.
No, I know,
And
but-
also,
but-
this is not
right,
a
but-
subdivision, this is actually a re-subdivision, because when they, originally, they divided
made one
that
cut
part,
already,
yes,
right.
into 3 lots on Linkfield
Linkfield, right.
Road, and lot 4 was this. Now they are re-subdividing lot 4 into 6 lots.
Right,
It's
so
a
They're subdividing
re-subdivision.
it into 7 lots.
Yeah, but they said that at this time they don't want to do it, yes.
No, I know that, but, okay, so what happens?
But again, for us, it doesn't make